Uh,
All right, everybody, we did it again. Oh, Awestruck Comics Podcast. We just had a 2 hour pre-show before the show. We forgot to record it. We
yeah,
almost just
right.
were like, oh,
That,
I'll talk, see
that's what it
everybody
felt
next
like.
week.
We talked about
So,
everything from like politics to people who get heart attacks after daylight savings to,
oh, fun
you know,
topics here. Fun topics pre-show. Did everyone take their heart meds today? Yes. Yeah, everyone fill your prescriptions. Super fun. So,
luckily
but
not on heart meds yet. Yeah.
I love them. They're great for me. They're really good for me.
Wait, do you say heart or hard? You hard medicine?
Bit of both.
Wink.
Wink, wink. So, all right,
Did you,
jump into some
hey,
plugs.
real quick, do you watch Mythic Quest?
No, I watched the one episode you told me to watch, the Christian Milioti one.
Ooh,
Who
that
she's
episode's, she's
yeah,
adorable. She's absolutely adorable in that. But this, yeah, I
pregnant
just,
now. She got a baby.
who is she?
Penguin's
Whoops.
baby.
All right. This is revealing on the show, everyone. Gonna be dad.
Me. It's mine.
It's both of ours. It's the milkshake that they talked about in what was it? Twins. Remember Twins? It
Yes.
was like they're like we made like this milkshake. I'm like that's not how science works.
That's how comedy works in the 80s. So what are you gonna do? It's all you can do.
What are
So
you gonna do? Um. So anyway, I was just gonna say that Mythic Quest. I thought there was like an episode or two up on Apple. I'm like, oh, I forgot about it. There was like seven. I'm like, well, it's Saturday. Might as well do it.
yeah,
But
it's
anyway,
progressing. Well, I think what's tomorrow tonight? Tonight's Righteous Gemstones premiere, I believe.
right?
And then Walton Goggins is also on White Lotus this season. So you get a
Yeah.
2 hour Walton Goggins block.
Well,
Does the guy ever quit? Does he
he's
ever?
also on Invincible.
Is he
and
really?
he
Oh,
and
that's
he
right.
and he did the Fallout series earlier this year.
Yeah, he's kind of on. There's only 2 months out of the year I don't think you see Walton Goggins on TV, which is fine by me. So he's
More
great
Walter
as
Goggins.
Baby Billy.
His you ever hear the story? There's a body double of his, in on the show. Like he's
Mhm.
like I think he's like in a tub outside or something. He stands up, so he does his body double, and everyone's like, "Oh man, you look really good, Walter. You look really good." Well, here his body double is like 70 years old.
Yeah,
He's
because in
like
the
you.
show he's right because they
He's
have
like
a
you.
whole subplot where they show it's the sister. He's the brother of the sister who was married to John Goodman's character,
Okay, yeah,
who
I
was
don't
kind of
watch
like a
it,
Donnie Yen
but I
Marie.
but I want to.
What? Yeah, her name was it Jennifer Nettles. She's a country artist, and they do flashback episodes, and they de-age John Goodman pretty good actually, but they have Walton Goggins as
But
like
do
regular
do they DH him and make him super heavy, or they DH
now,
skinny new John Goodman?
skinny new, yeah,
Okay, because any DH John Goodman would be like 350
right,
pounds.
right, make him look worse. Yeah, I know it is hard. That's what I think. That's why that Irishman movie didn't work for me because my brain, I know what Robert De Niro looks like when he's 25. He doesn't look like
Yes,
he's 70 with looking foggy. You know what I mean? Like looking with some Vaseline. It used to be Vaseline on the lens. That's what they used to do. They used to either put pantyhose or Vaseline before they had like
that's the Sybil
lenses and
Shepherd,
stuff.
effect on Moonlighting. Like
Is
you
that what
look
it
at Bruce
was?
Willis, it'd be all like clear,
Oh, I
as far
remember
as,
that. Yeah.
and then Sybil Shepherd would be like, what's going on? Is it like a glow? Sybil
Simple
Shepherd.
Shepherd effect, everybody. Just like this effect on this picture. Look at that. Woo! It doesn't really sparkle like that. Anyway,
No,
so let's get into some
let's get into it.
plugs.
What are you plugging, Mark?
I don't know. There we go. We'll plug our I have to give, plug our Instagram. I have 2 posts on there so far. Got to get some more posts up there. My idiosyncratic pulp, where I feature lots of different artists, is Alcatina here, who does my favorite Conan the Savage, but also did a ton. And I got some last week at Panther Comics. Did a ton of annuals for like DC. He did like a Flash annual, and he did a Legends of the Dark Knight annual with Man Bat, which is a really
Is
cool
this
looking.
is this from the 90s?
This is Conan the Savage number 2. Yes, yeah, tribal. Yeah, but Alcatina was the inker on Hawkworld for Tim
Okay,
Truman,
yeah.
and he works a lot with Tim Truman as his finisher, and then did the Spider, which is one of my favorite. One of my favorite. That was through Eclipse, I believe. 3 issue prestige format miniseries Tim Truman did. I love that. It's so wonderful. And then the second series Tim Truman wrote, and then he drew the interiors for the second series. But worked a lot with Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon wrote this one too. Most of the annuals, John Rozum did the Flash one, but I think I almost have everything that he's done. But he did a ton of. He did about, out of the 10 issues of Conan the Savage, he did about 6. and they're all fantastic. I love it.
Yeah,
So
this
crazy.
looks fantastic. It's great panel, Mark. Really
I
good
love it.
choice.
I love it.
I
Here's
love it.
your. We'll plop in your current. What's on your current Rob
Come
Messick this
come
week?
check me out. Yeah, this is Rob Messick. This is me on Twitter X doing whatever art I can find online for the most part. Just, any art, original art. I'm doing a thing on Youngblood, getting, because I'm pumped for the new series, which we're getting sooner than we thought. I was going
Oh,
to try to do every Youngblood cover, and I kind of added it up. Where I'm like, all right, I can do this and have every Youngblood cover up on my Twitter
by
when
October.
Youngblood #1 comes out in October. And then Liefels like, surprise, you could order it and get it in April, April 16th, the 33rd anniversary of Youngblood. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
all
gonna be
right,
nuts. We're gonna be the first one to review it.
we are.
We might be the first ones to review it. We'll do a separate episode and yeah,
Yeah.
panel by panel, baby. Panel with that. That's you told me that like midweek. I was at Raising Cane's eating my chicken fingers, and I was very excited. I was very excited. What
No, it's
could be
cool.
better to find I'm getting Youngblood months early and
Yeah.
eating Raising Cane's with the good dip? Nothing better.
There's nothing better. Well, there's stuff better, but you're not going to get that at Raising Cane's
Barely.
or at a comic store.
Oh,
I mean, you could,
I mean, maybe. My
maybe.
comics. Forget it. I want to talk about
So,
it.
and Twitter. This is me on Twitter. That's just Rob Messick.
Oh,
I have the Maximum Supreme page where I'm doing a page a day of Supreme. I'm getting close to the Alan Moore run, so I don't know
oh.
if I'm going to put that up or not. Like, I don't know if I should. See, I put this up when Liefeld wasn't going to make any money from Supreme. I don't want to take money out of anyone's pocket, even people who can
Yeah, it's a
afford it.
fan account. I don't think so. You know?
I don't know, but I feel like the Alan Moore stuff is more worth it. Like I feel like there's not that this stuff's bad, but like the Alan Moore stuff is just incredible, you know? So,
Yeah, I would just keep going. I mean, look, it's all fan appreciation. I mean, listen, that's what the majority of my Instagram following is
well, yeah, I don't
art
mind putting up
appreciation.
like for the most part, I don't mind putting up art because it's random. It's this or here's a couple pages. Like, do you guys see this? Do you see what it's symbolizing or what it's trying to tell us with the foreshadowing? Like, I dig all of that.
Mhm.
Um, Not that there's a lot of foreshadowing and symbolism before Alan Moore takes over Supreme. It's just straight up 90s comics. But
Mhm.
like, yeah, I don't know. I just because I know they're probably going to do an Alan Moore collection. I know there's a lot of things in the works at Extreme/Image.
Yeah.
Um, but they're my scans. They're not digital. They're just me taking a comic,
Well, then I
scanning
then
it.
I would even more encourage to put them out because more than likely they're going to do retouches potentially when they put them out again. You know,
Yeah. There's
do it,
funny
bro.
funny story. At one point, Liefeld, Supreme, crazy history of like post Alan Moore work. Like at one point, Rob Liefeld was going to draw. He was going to redraw the entire Supreme run, Alan Moore stuff for Marvel, and call it Supreme for Icon because the Icon deal at Marvel was very good. It was very profitable for Bendis and Miller. Like they were doing the Marvel Icon series. Marvel gave an imprint to these guys as a reward for working for them. So Liefeld said, "Hey, can I do Supreme?" And Marvel goes, "Uh, no, because people might confuse Supreme with Supreme Power." Liefeld's like, "Okay, cool." And then within a year, Bendis starts doing powers for Icon. So okay, so Supreme is too confusing for Supreme Powers, but Powers isn't too confusing with Supreme Powers.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
good.
that's politics for you. But not only so, and a second story, and I told you this one earlier. I was talking to Liefeld at a show. We're just rapping about like the Extreme relaunch of 2012, and he was telling me that at one point he was going to get another artist. Like after he didn't do Supreme with Marvel, redrawing Alan Moore stuff, he found another artist that was going to draw the entire Alan Moore run, like get it one consistent artist. And because the problem with the Supreme run is it suffers from too many artists. There's probably 10 or 12 artists that end up drawing those 24 issues.
Right, right.
So he's going to get one consistent artist. I don't think they were going to redraw the Rick Veitch stuff. That's kind of like perfect. Like you can't kind of mess with those pages.
Hmm.
So anyway, he's talking to me, and then Eric Steven walks up, and Lavel's like, "No, it's cool, Eric. We can talk in front of Rob." And Eric's like, "No." Like they must have had some shit to talk about. Like Rob's like, "All right, you gotta give me a couple minutes, Rob." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." That was just kind of funny. It's like, "F you, Eric Stevenson."
That's
No,
funny.
I love Eric Stevenson. Super nice. I talked to him other times. Super nice guy.
I've
He'd be a
never
great
I've never talked to him
no,
actually.
he'd be a
No.
great interview, but he like rarely ever does podcast. Like
Well,
rarely.
we'll change that. We'll change that. So here is this is the project that was all kicked off a
Your
buying a
ADHD.
nightstand. Yeah, my ADHD. Yeah, so I redid The Office a little bit, just a couple extra pixels, just kind of blow through these real fast. There's Bear on the couch. Doing great, doing what he does best, napping. Um, so in this pic, just real quick, you can see got two prints. I got a Liam Sharp. That's actually a Spawn print. I don't know. I just bought it because I thought it was Conan from Liam
Hmm.
Sharp. But yeah, it says on the bottom it says so and so McFarlane. I was like, is this from Dark Ages? I have no idea what it's from. I don't really care because it's awesome. And then I have a Bloodrick signed right there by our boy Andrew Cronky. These pillows my girlfriend made for me, and then we're actually probably gonna do up here some uh might do like balances, kind of do matching balances, and that's a good print there. She was really nervous giving them to me because she thought she might have bought the wrong print, but I love them. It's actually perfect, and I know every artist on there.
That was cool.
Herb Trimp, what we got? Jrjr, Layton, Kirby, Romita Senior. Uh-oh. Let's see.
That's good.
Here we go. So
Beautiful.
yeah, so there we go. So I got a Wolverine poster, but that Wolverine glows in the dark, baby, glows in the dark. Which actually I remember looking at Tower Records in Cherry Hill. But it's pretty cool because it's real light, it's real lean in like the number of lines. It's funny that they decide they're gonna do like let's do these, but no other
Can you
like
feel it?
shadow
Is it
line.
a tactile like
Well,
rubbery?
now it's
Well, it's
under yeah, now it's under like a glass, Uh, And then, yeah, so now that's under a frame. But it was, yeah, you could feel it. And it was as a little bit of water damage up here, but you can't really tell against once it's in there. So it doesn't matter. And then like a little fold there. But again, don't really care because it's
no.
it's here.
It's
Glow
the
in
Art
the dark,
Adams.
baby.
It's the Art Adams Wolverine poster. Phenomenal.
Yeah, this was the Grand There's my toilet. This was a Ed Piscor Mondo print that I got really cheap. If you remember at Baltimore, these guys he was just blowing out Mondo prints. This was like $20.
Yeah.
I think it originally was probably 100. Um, Glow in the
Mondo.
dark.
Isn't Mondo owned by Funko now? Right? Funko bought Mondo, right?
God, well, we'll get to that in the news, man. I don't
All
know if
right.
that's a good situation.
Well, they bought him a while
Um,
ago.
I had a failed Hobby Lobby excursion where I was trying to buy prints for posters and stuff and prints that I already have and know that were coming,
Right.
and nothing in the Hobby Lobby in Sicklerville. But I was passing by Big Lots that was going out of business, so this is literally a $10 bulletin board that was Big Lots break room bulletin board. It literally had a bunch of holes in it, but it's like, well, it's a bulletin board. It's a cork board, and it's
Yeah.
pretty big. It's like 5 by 4 or something. It's pretty large. So I started mapping out something to put up here, but yeah, I have a bunch of so I got an extreme poster.
That that that
My
extreme art only available in that wizard. He never used that artwork
Oh
anywhere
really?
else.
Oh, even
Yeah.
better. That's part of my favorite thing about the my office is that a lot of this is exclusive. Well, we think
It's
this Cable Wolverine was in what? That Cable
we
Wolverine
I
was
think that was
in.
in a Wolverine issue.
Okay.
Okay.
This Cable uh, pin up here was in a wizard, colored, but it's not colored in issue one or two.
Issue
Two,
one.
one.
Yeah, I think issue one. It's the inside front and back covers, but it's in black and white, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah,
Boo. Even
boo.
though I think did they use it for a gem,
There's a
whatever,
hidden gem that
a hidden gem?
it's still very expensive right now. Yeah, it was a Cable a couple years ago. They had a Cable series, so and I like that recoloring because they changed. We talked about that before.
Yeah,
I think I had that on here before where I had like 6 pictures of that Cable art
yeah,
that was in like 6 different colorings. But that hidden gem, I'm trying to figure out a way I
yeah.
can maybe get that as a
The
poster.
my favorite coloring is probably the promo coloring where they just someone slapped on colors for like inside Marvel.
Like
Like I used to love that. In
from
Marvel
Marvel
Age,
Age.
they would just slap in colors. And then when the book would come out, you'd be like, wait a minute, I thought the colors were different.
Oh, I did a syncretic poll post of the X Force #1. X Force One had in the Marvel Age was like very different coloring than the Venkata color. Not very very different, but lots of it was just like Cable didn't have like 6 different colors like on his chest. It was like blue, like it was just kind of flat. You're
That's
right.
neat.
They just slapped
The
on some clovers
there's a
colors.
Ghost Rider. When Ghost Rider was the McFarlane Spider-Man, the cover there's a UPC of Ghost Rider. Well, Marvel Age, they colored it and then they colored the UPC box. I'm like,
Okay,
that's awesome.
is that?
So
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's in Marvel Age. They didn't color it on the issue.
yeah. So then,
But these are cool. So what do you got? You got
yeah,
the Jim Lee, inked by McFarlane Angela,
and
which
that's
in the
colored there, but in the book it's not colored, right? It's just black and white.
correct, correct. Yeah. This is the Green Hulk Wizard, I think was the rarer one, or was the gray one rare?
I don't remember one of the two, but either way, that's not reprinted anywhere.
No, and
That
that's neat because Hulk was not green yet. Like that was just something they did for fun. Hulk had been gray at that point for like 5 or 8 years.
right, right.
What's that?
Um,
Is that the McFarlane
that's a Spawn
redrawing?
50. Yeah,
Right.
Spawn
He's
50.
he's redrawing the cover to Spawn #1.
Yeah, that
That's
was
really
still, that's I had, you know what I had? I do have the Spider-Man. They took it and they put it, and it's weird because they put it out. I want to see the check the date on it. I feel like they put it out like really close to 9/11. Is they had Spider-Man, it was McFarlane like on a rooftop and had Twin Towers behind him, and I was like, that's weird. Like,
oh
why are you putting
yeah,
that
you
in?
know what? Yeah, that poster. Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, I have this poster book somewhere.
I used to have
Spawn
his poster
50,
book.
Spawn 50 is kind of a letdown because it's McFarlane's return to drawing Spawn. He hadn't drawn
Right.
Spawn by himself since
And one like
issue
30 issues almost.
7. Yeah, since like issue 15 or something like that. He hadn't
Mhm.
drawn Spawn by himself, and it just looks like more Capullo. I'm like, damn it, he melded with Capullo, and then when he came out looking more like Capullo. So
Well,
issue 50,
it's almost like the Jim Lee effect when he was looking at the J. Scott Campbell stuff when he went to draw. He was like, I want
yeah,
to go draw Gen 13.
right.
Okay, thanks. And then
Hey,
I didn't care.
what's funny? You had brought up Gen X the other day. You were like, because you were looking at Inside Image,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Gen 13 was originally going to be called Gen X, and they had like, what were you saying? Issue 3 was solicited in Inside
Mhm.
Image.
Yeah.
They put a lot of money. I had a Gen X poster. It was all about Gen X, and then Marvel, I don't know, they sue them or they just say, hey, we've been working on a book called Generation X. You can't use Gen X. We own the letter X, apparently.
So
So
stupid.
Jim Lee backed off. But because the book was so late, when he changed it to Gen 13, he had to resolicit it. And he lost like 200 or 300,000 in sales. That book was like 600,000 when it was solicited as Gen X, but like almost a whole year
Oh,
gone
really? Oh, wow.
by the
Hmm.
time they changed it to Gen 13. So it only sold like 175,000. So he lost like 200,000 worth of sales. That's why and when Gen 13 hit, it became popular and it became valuable. Like that was a hard book to find. That was like a 10
Yeah.
or $20 book,
It's
which
funny
is
now, like I can find everything in a dollar bin. I found like I can find all but one. I think I did a couple years ago, and then I ended up selling my Gen 13 set recently. So
yeah.
I'll get it back. I'll get it
You know
back.
what? I sold my Gen 13 set, but I think I want to go find Gen 13 number 13 and make my own scan of it because I think that's not on the DC app because there's so many. You
Nah.
got Bone and Madman and
Was it
Wolverine,
3 issues? 13 3 issues?
three
Was it
issues.
A, B,
Yeah,
C?
yeah. Do you have
Goofy.
them,
I have one or two of them. Yeah, I don't think I have all. I don't think I have. I think I have two out of the three.
Mark? Get them and let me scan your copy.
That's fine.
Make it official. Because I think the one copy I had like sucks.
Up here, I almost put this. I put this here because I don't know if this was anywhere else. This is a Top Cow, but it has Arcanum. It has Finch, Cyberforce. The Ripclaw, I think, is a Silvestri. It's got 9 volt in there, I believe, and I think it's a Finch. I think what's his name already? I think Turner already
This
left.
this became a thing with Top Cow. Like after this, they started releasing whenever they would do conventions, at least for 8 years in a row. If you went to a comic convention like 2000 or 2008, they would put out a Top Cow poster. Usually it was all like their hot chick characters
Mhm.
drawn by all their artists. So it was like a Finch, a Silvestri, a Benitez. Like they did a thing of that every year. And they were really, I had a bunch of them. But yeah, that's still,
Yeah, that
I,
might be. So that was in a wizard. Basically, like I had some others I was going to put up here, but then
yeah,
I ended up just taking apart a bunch of my wizard poster magazines and then put them up because I wanted to put up exclusive art. So this is the Whitman Wolverine Sabretooth cover,
right.
which at the time we didn't know. I know I wasn't exactly like I was like, this looks like something. This looks like someone that I know. And Bart Sears was under contract, so he had to change his name, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. When it wasn't airbrushed, I think at one point I could just like, I think I was just like, man, this guy draws just like Bart Sears to Andy Smith,
Mhm.
I just figured he's like the third. I never
Right,
thought it was someone else using a pen name. I didn't really know about pen names back then, you know?
right.
So I just thought like, oh man, this guy I knew it looked just like Bart Sears, but like, there were artists back then who drew like other artists. So why wouldn't you just think,
Yeah,
you know
there
what I
was a
mean?
couple in some of these. There's a couple that I think are technically Roger Cruz. I'm thinking it's like a mid-wear like pinup or something,
Yeah, yeah,
Because I had the stuff that made the cutting room floor that couldn't get up there. I was trying to get like because I don't care about. There's a Maggot Cecilia Reyes cover, and I was like, I
right,
want
right.
Maggot in there. I don't care about Cecilia Reyes. It never fucking worked. Um, I want to say this Ash cover is an actual Ash issue, like part of like the newer miniseries or whatever. But I still wanted to kind of mix it up. So I have like Marvel image,
Yeah.
Marvel image, Marvel image. But this is right after like right near the Kazar run where I think they were like, oh, Andy Kubert, let's draw. You can have Kazar on the cover because I think this was just on the Wizard cover. I don't think this was ever anywhere else. And then because Wolverine was not in that book, but they're like, well, we need you to draw Wolverine because we got to sell some fucking Wizard magazines. So there you go. Thank you.
Yeah. Why not?
Um, and what's kind of funny is that like, when I've been collecting stuff for years, but I feel like just now that my office is redone, I almost have like everything is out, and I'll get to that here next. So, because I have all my new gods here, and they all fit like perfectly right there,
Yeah.
even
Right
though it doesn't,
across. I love it. I love that New
um,
God Superman.
yeah,
Like,
that this is a super fun. I'm never going to take them out. I mean, they're just the packaging's really good. They're really wonderful. So these were DC Directs. I know we talk about McFarlane figures quite a bit, but these were really good sculpts. The Orion has two heads. No one else has, I think. Um, I think what is he?
it was
Yeah, I want to
crazy. If
say.
these toys came out today, he'd have 3 heads, 4 hands, 2 feet, an extra crotch.
Yeah, I don't need. Yeah, but they're
Like,
fine. You know what I mean? Like that's what actually would have it would have been funny if they gave Superman an extra head, and it was
oh,
like a
like a
Murphy
Kurt
Anderson
Swan.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Murphy Anderson or Pete Poplawski or something. Speaking of Kirby, is I did get that at Target. So last week we talked a little bit about that Deadpool, which is like 1/6 scale or whatever.
Yeah.
So these are like the 25-30 ones, and these are the 50 ones. The 50 ones, the 25-30 one's okay. And then last week when I showed it, the back of it is just there's no ink on the back at all. Like it's like, yeah, you're not gonna look at the back. You're just gonna have it up as like a statue, I guess. But you can at least do that. This Thor is like is through and through. It's really really good.
Yeah. It
It
looks
also
beautiful.
comes with a complete issue. It comes with a reprint of 177, which is 17 pages long because the back was a Tales of Asgard, which they didn't give you, but they gave you like 8 pages of like new statues coming, and that's fine. Good, do that. So this is worth it. That was Target $50. Great. It's real fucking heavy. It's really heavy. So I don't know. I don't care
He's
about that
so
Hulk one too much. So I don't think I'm going to get
heavy.
that.
What, the
So
McFarlane Hulk one?
yeah, I don't care about that
I gotta look at
that
it.
much.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just like. I used to just buy stuff.
Yeah.
This is
No,
beautiful.
I'm a little more discerning. Yeah, this was in really good shape too. I got this off of eBay. This is a
Ooh.
Hearts of
Who is
Darkness.
this? Al Williamson? Who inked it?
I believe Al Williamson. I don't know
All right.
if I can see it.
See, I look at this mark, and this
Actually, no, I think
doubles.
it's Jrjr. Oh no, yeah, no, it's Al Williamson, 1991.
Okay. Um, this is why he should be drawing Weapon X-Men.
Yeah,
I see this, and I see the perfect Wolverine. I see a Cable in that Punisher. I don't know.
yeah. This is before Hearts of Darkness is before the Cable miniseries. It's before Punisher War Zone. So in the book itself, this is like in between Punisher. So there is an issue of Daredevil where he draws Punisher, but it's skinny Punisher, and that's
Right.
actually the faux crossover with Punisher, which Will Portatio drew the other side of that. So it's two different. It's the same
Right.
issue,
Yeah. Same issue.
but
Just
so that's pretty fun. We should maybe review that like page by page one day. That would be kind of fun.
put it on the
Um,
list.
yeah, but this is the first time I noticed this. I don't think this is in the Hearts Darkness book. That's not part of his bike. I don't believe so. I've never seen that before. His handle's a little, skull. That's awesome.
No, that is
With
awesome.
teeth. That's really fun. That's like a
Listen,
really
these
fun flourish.
these artists got paid really good to do posters. Like, you
And
got paid extra to do
I'm not
posters.
sure on these gauntlets if they look like that either. Whatever. I remember not liking his Ghost Rider because it was just a skull. Because I like Texeira's skull, where it's
Right.
all like it's a lot of facial expressions.
Yeah.
But this was perfect, beautiful, beautiful shape. So that's really fun. So that's the corner, and that's where I take my photos. There's a doppelganger right there, buddy, right there.
Look at
Found
that.
it,
Doppelganger #5.
found it,
It's,
baby.
it's got a story by both of us in it. So
Yeah.
that book's rare. You'll never find it.
Nah, it's like how many copies is that you said?
50. There's 50 of that issue. That's our fifth issue of Doppelganger.
There it is, baby.
I'll get them up for PDS one day, everyone. It's just
Yeah, that's it. But this is the lineup here. This is a Ghost Rider. Like again, everything that I have like that I've had out. These look really good up there. I have all my Godzillas and an Iron Giant there.
are those slippers?
Yes, yeah. So I
Okay.
just put them under there because they're not. They're actually a little small. My feet are pretty big. They say big feet, big shoes.
Yeah.
But this is a glow in the dark. So I have my glow in the dark section here. I have this really cheesy Ghost Rider there. So it's kind of all fit. I mean, it's a lot. It's funny, like when you look across, it's like, man, I have a lot of Ghost Rider. I love I love Wolverine. I love Ghost Rider. So that's correct. And they
That
have put
works.
out some pretty good Ghost Rider figures, but I don't know. Again, this is just
That's
an
the
ever
that's the glow in the
evolving.
dark Ghost Rider figure, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. The
I love
chains
it.
glow in the
The
dark,
chain.
and
That's an
yeah.
awesome toy.
So this
I
is my
got
glow
that.
in the dark like little section. This was going to be in the upstairs, but this ended up graduating down to my kitchen, to my like great room basically. This was going to be up here, but now that since I
You
found
see,
that bulletin
people, when
board,
when you don't have a current wife, you can put a Conan poster in your kitchen.
yeah, well the blood really matches the red on the wall. Yeah, and you
I
can paint
I
your
can't
and
imagine.
you
Hey,
can also
Kath,
paint your downstairs like Superman colors, like
can you imagine? Hey, Kath, I'm gonna put some toys across the back of the stove here, okay?
yeah, and then you can hang right,
She'd
then
be
you
like,
can
"Get the hell
have
out of here!"
this we talked about. This was coming. This finally showed up. This is from Valor, which is the weekly comic, which was like Thor, Doctor Strange, Conan reprints, and then they had an annual winter special that had this colored, I think different colored than wherever this was. I'm not even sure where this was. I don't know if this was in sort of. I don't even know. I'm not sure. I know this is the cover
I'll tell
to.
you.
Yeah, I don't know. And then this is again, I don't even know what this is from. I think, and this is also in my great room here. There's a lot of reflection on this because of when I took it, but that's a Joe Jusko Kill Raven, and it was dated like 2015, and I don't even know what that's from. I think he might have did a card set that we don't know about or
I'm just
something.
glad that you're dressed when you took this picture. Somebody
Yeah.
did that. Somebody did that. Oh, look at my toy collection, and in the reflection, the dude's like
Oh,
naked.
really?
You're like, ugh.
Oh, and this one was on my list that I've never seen
Oh, that's
before.
really neat.
But this is Wolverine's.
All yeah.
But it's weird though. Like I don't want it because I don't want necessarily a press poster that is like not the series artist, right? Like, so if this is purely referencing well, I guess not. I mean, because I don't think X-Men are in that Wolverine series at all, right? Or does he seem it? No, I don't think they're in it at all. So this is kind of like, what is going on in this
Is
thing?
this what is this a press poster for?
I don't know. It's a press poster for. I thought originally when I was looking at it, I thought it was like Mariko. I was like, oh, this is the Wolverine miniseries, but I don't remember like a Russian subplot. Did they have a Russian subplot right around this time?
And that's a Canadian flag.
Yeah.
They got Moscow, Canadian flag. You got the X-Men, and you got Ninjas and Mariko. This is a weird. This is like one of those posters you see from like another country where they don't see the movie, but they have to make a poster for it.
Right. It's like a foreign
That's
poster. Yeah.
yeah, that's what
Like
this is.
Evil Dead 2 has a bunch of posters that are like, what is this movie? Or even Maniac. Was it? No, it's Samurai Cop. Samurai Cop has a guy with a sword and a head that's beheaded. That's not in the movie at all.
Yeah,
At all. Like not even close. Yeah, so that's really fun. So this is on my list potentially, but I'm just like, I don't know. But you're right, like I don't know what this is.
it's
And then
1985, so we're like that's is that after the first Wolverine miniseries?
yes, it's after the first one. It's right
But
around the
it's
time when Paul
before the
Smith was
ongoing.
on. Yeah, but these are Paul Smith designs. And that's Jrjr. Is that Jrjr's? Or no, that was Paul Smith's Mohawk design. This is when Leonardi's kind of like the fill-in right around this time,
Yeah.
85.
Is this
I don't know.
before he? But this is before he becomes the Uncanny X-Men artist, right?
I think
Because he
so.
doesn't. Because him and Silvestri take over in the 220s, right?
Yes, 201 is Jrjr.
Romita. Yeah.
Mhm.
Up till 209's Romita, and then we got the Alan Davis issue, and then we got some Kerry Gamble stuff that's really good. It's all a mixture. The two, I forget, kind of like we got the Barry Windsor Smith issues, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that covers it, but I don't know like how was this commissioned. Again, I think with some of these, and I'll pop up right now that I didn't put in there, but last week when we talked about that Phil Winslade Big Guns poster, which has like Sandman and the Wild Pack, or I'm sorry, Silver Sable and the Wild Pack. Sandman is in the Wild Pack, like her like faux team, which was almost like a Shield spin-off team,
Right.
but then it has like Carol Danvers there for some reason with like a different streak in her hair and a slightly different outfit. And then it has Paladin. Paladin was never in Silver Sable book ever. But you said someone else was supposed to do Silver Sable, and then it went to Stephen Butler. Did you say that to me
Greg
before?
Wright, I think someone else was writing and drawing it, and I think like they for some reason couldn't do it, and then Greg Wright's like they just handed it to Greg Wright, like, "Yeah, it's your book now."
Right,
And
because Greg
yeah,
Wright's
they had
not really a writer. He's not a known. He's not like a.
yeah, he was like oddly editing, and then but he learned. Here's the thing: when you're an editor at Marvel, you don't make a lot of money. But if you're freelance, the money's shoveled at you, especially back in the late '80s, early '90s. So that's
Hmm,
why he became a colorist. He became a writer. I
hmm,
mean, I love his coloring. Like for me, like what always stands out is Spider-Man 15. Like he colored
hmm.
this Eric Larson Spider-Man Beast issue. Phenomenal.
Yeah,
And he did the Sinister
that first
Six.
page is my favorite page. One of my
Yeah.
favorite pages of all time. And that was one thing I was like, if I ever get a tattoo, a couple people would ask me that. They said, "You like art and you like all this stuff so much, you don't have a tattoo." And I don't know if you even know this. I actually have this graffiti art of this of
You have a tramp stamp, don't you?
I
Of
do have a
spider
tramp
webs.
stamp. That's right.
It's spider webs across your lower back.
Has hash marks in it. The but I have someone told me at my high school the last high school reunion that this guy didn't show up, and he's like, "Oh, Joe has like his name that you drew. He kept it in a drawer, and he got it done like 3 years ago. So like he has a drawing of like a bubble lettering that I did for him, and it's on him. So my art is on someone that I drew in 1992, 93, maybe at Gloucester Catholic. He's like, "Hey, can you draw my name?" I'm like, "Sure," and then I just gave it to him. I just think that's really
This
funny.
this is uh I was at Wizard World Philly one year when me and Brian were selling Frenzy number zero, our little mini comic, and this girl went up. She like really liked it. She's like, "Oh, can you guys both draw something on my arm?" So Milligan drew something, and then she asked me. I'm like, "I'm not really that great of an artist." She's like, "Doesn't matter," but I'm really good at drawing a style of Don Martin. I could draw like a Don Martin head real
Uh,
fast. So I drew that on her, and she liked it. I'm like, wow. I'm like, take care of it. She's like, I am. I'm getting it tattooed. And I'm like, no, you're not. And whether or not she did, I don't know. But
right,
like,
right.
how funny to come up to
Oh,
me and
that's
Brian.
crazy.
It is crazy.
Just at random.
Just
I can see
random.
if you meet someone that is like signature, but then you see that sometimes when you see someone does a signature, like I want to get it tattooed right now, and they're like, "Oh shit, I should have done a better job," or they get really scared to write their name.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
scary, because it's on someone forever. So
Whoever.
or not, or you can get it.
Or
My brother had
or
shit
she left
removed,
and
or he
just,
had stuff over top. You can have stuff over top. That's
hey,
what.
brother.
Yeah, Johnny Depp has a. He had a Winona. It was like Winona Forever,
Yeah,
and then I think he switched it and he made it to Wino. He had it removed, so it's Wino Forever because he loves wine.
that's funny.
Technically, that's true. So
It seems true. I mean,
it
his
is.
whole character is based off him being drunk in Pirates of the Caribbean.
He probably was drunk. So that's okay. That's fun.
Yeah, good for him. Listen, it was a great performance, and it revitalized his career, and everyone loves Johnny Depp forever.
Yeah, and I feel that he has. I think John Cena has the record, but I believe that Johnny Depp's kind of up there with like showing up as character. John Cena shows
That's
up a lot.
so much work. Yeah, John Cena, he's great because he can just show up to
Yeah,
where Johnny
he's
Depp
John
likes to
Cena,
show
right?
up. Yeah. I
He
mean,
shows up in like full regalia. He shows up in full fucking like Jack Sparrow, and then stays in character, which is kind of crazy. And whatever,
that's
man.
a
Good for him. They
yeah.
fucked up. I think right now there's probably enough time. They fucked up. I think they probably could do a Pirates now. I feel like it calmed a bit, and I feel like that could do it. You know what it should be? Oh, here's an idea. Here's an idea that Hollywood will not do. Awestruck solution. Have a Lone Ranger reunion, right? But just have like, because again, that was what it was that who did that? Gore Verbinski directed all those or whatever.
Right?
Um, so you have a new Pirates movie, and then the villain is like Army Hammer. Make him a cannibal or some shit. Cannibal on an island? No, too
Oh my
soon.
goodness. Too
So
soon?
he's got a podcast. He does a podcast in his tiny apartment because
Yeah.
he's like broke, and it's a super funny, humbling one. Frank Grillo was on 2 weeks ago, and I forget who was on last week. It's kind of
Frank Grillo,
interesting.
Frank Grillo almost lost his career.
They talk about that. Yeah, that's a pretty good podcast. I mean, they talk about. Listen, I like, you know, just regardless. I'm not saying I like cannibals. I'm saying like I like journeys of artists
I don't know.
and people
I
getting
like I
canceled and
like re I
comeback
like
stories.
redemption. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's important. And some people can't seem to come back from it. Like I want people to redeem themselves. You should have the chance to be able to be forgiven but you have to recognize what you did was wrong. Some people just fake it, you
Right,
know?
right.
And like Katherine Heigl did some crap and then like she came back and everything she did just seemed fake. And I wanted to
Hmm.
like her,
Right,
because I
right.
kind of thought she was good. But then she's like adopting African babies and I'm like, this all seems so fake.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like when Angelina Jolie adopts African babies, I'm like, I believe that because I think she has like a good heart.
Yeah,
I
she's
think
also
she's
like an ambassador. She's like a UN ambassador, I believe. still,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
crazy
So
talk. All right, so let's get into the news. Hold on one second. All right, so this is some we got some catch up Toy Fair stuff from last week, right? Because this is from who? This is from. Do you remember who this is from?
nope. I want to say McFarlane, but I don't think it is.
Nah, it
What
isn't. I forget.
what this is a kind of a remake of the Jaws game. There was a Jaws game after the first movie. It's just a plastic shark sits up on its fins, and his mouth's full of junk, and you have to slowly take the junk out, put the mouse on a rubber band. So whoever I guess takes out that last one that offsets the weight, the mouth closes. That person's the loser. And then of course when they lost the Jaws license, they would just call it like Sharky. It's like the Sharky game. So this is
It's like
cool. It's
Operation kind of like now, right? I think
yes,
that's how they
yeah.
they reference it now.
So this
It's
is
so goofy.
yeah, it's fun. But it's funny because these are all the like in the original game, all these toys are just like solid blue or yellow. They're just solid old colors. And here it's like so detailed. Like it's the same things.
Well, it's the
It's
stuff I think in the scene when they literally take the stomach shit
well,
out.
yeah,
Like,
when
you know
when
what I
they
mean?
cut open the tiger shark, the wrong shark,
The
the
wrong
license
shark.
plate. Yeah.
That's really funny. But it's Bruce. We believe it is. It's Bruce the shark.
Yeah,
So
that's official Bruce. Yeah, love it.
Bruce. I
Love it.
never
Big
saw
fans of
that. That was the shark is not working. I never saw that documentary.
I know. I,
It's so
I'm so
stupid.
obsessed with Jaws. I've seen all four of them. I've seen four the most, which is like just because of being poor
Yep.
and having that one on videotape. Um, yeah.
Being poor.
Oh
I've
my
seen that
goodness.
one the most being poor. You know. Well, you got to figure like it's I saw something. There's a video show that I watched called This Aged Great. And the guy just and he does. I think on his Patreon you can watch like the whole movie with it. He audio tracks the whole movie. But he
Yeah.
did Ski School, and he's like,
Okay.
"What? You remember Ski School
I
with
do.
Dean Cameron and stuff? Like it's just pretty much like boobs every 5 minutes, and like it's like so bad and trashy and stuff." But that he did Drop Dead Fred this week and Ski School and St. Elmo's Fire. St. Elmo's Fire is ridiculous. St. Elmo's Fire is horrible. It's so
But
bad.
it's got a good theme.
It does, but it's so. And at the end, well, at the end, like the funny thing at the end of this one, he said at the very end, they go like, let's go to St. Elmo's to go drink." And they're like, "Well, let's just go to Houlihan's for brunch." And he's like, "Is this secretly a Houlihan's commercial for 2.5 hours?" Like
Oh
it's
my.
secretly because they literally say they name drop Houlihan's at the end, which is really funny. So here we go. So Frank Miller, this is you sent this to me. This is the
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, he did an album cover for The Weeknd, Frank Miller. And it's like a step above his Marvel stuff, but it's
Do we
definitely
need
like
Alex Sinclair to get paid for this? Do we
I
really need
know.
that? That's okay. I mean, listen, bro, get paid. You know what I'm
No,
saying? Like
bro,
whatever you get
listen,
paid.
Mark, it's funny you say that. Uh this is a
There
great
probably
this
is some things done to this. So I can't, I'm not, I am making fun of it a little bit, but I'm not.
pros get paid. There
We
was
love that we're
a
getting paid.
I was listening to a Kyle Stark interview, and he was saying when he made his first graphic novel, like, he was kind of a nobody, and he had went and given a copy to Matt Fraction, and Matt Fraction's like, "Oh, I didn't get a chance to read it yet. What do I owe you?" He's like, "Nothing. I'm giving it to you." And Matt Fraction goes, "No, pros get paid," and he like handed him like $20. Like, damn, Matt Fraction, that's really awesome of you. And Matt Fraction is the one who's like contacted Image, is like, "Hey, check this guy's book out,"
Oh,
and
cool.
that's how Kyle Starks kind of got in the comics.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
pros
I know
get
that
paid. I love
some
it.
some professionals are really specific about also paying for things. Do you remember when we had Jim Ballant at the store in
Jim Ballant came into our Legends
1996?
comic store. Did you organize that?
Yeah, yeah,
That was great because we
yeah.
got Doug Mensch, incredible writer. We got Jim Ballant at the top of his game doing a Catwoman, the longest artist to ever do Catwoman, the
Mhm.
longest artist. And Jim Ballant brought his wife,
Yeah, Holly.
who went by Holly Golightly, but also
Mhm.
went by the artist name Fauve, Fauve.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she had a
Yep.
she had a good style too. She was also really good looking. And she showed up and like put on the
in
Catwoman
in
costume.
full in full specific purple
Yeah.
Jim Ballant Catwoman costume. So that was also and that was not planned. We didn't know about that was going to happen. So
They
that
were
wasn't we weren't mad at it.
no,
But
hell no. We all got pictures with her. She was like ridiculously hot. Like we're like
Milligan had
so
some
happy
stuff. He
for her.
had some of those pictures. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I have some too.
that's
I have to
awesome.
scan them because they're on a actual photograph.
What
I
paper?
know, right?
What's that?
Film,
Um, yeah, but
but
at the
super.
time, like he picked a bunch of stuff out because we had some stuff. We had some underground stuff that I would order and or got from Plymouth Meeting, pretty much. I would steal a lot of stuff from them. They would like
The
we
other
would go over and
legends.
transfer it. Yeah, like stuff was
Yeah,
just transferred. So we would just bring it over and see if it would sell. Well, we tried a lot of stuff out in that back wall. That back wall was just like whatever I wanted, which is kind of fun.
it was
But
great.
we made enough money on the front end of what we knew we were going to make money off of that I can experiment and order some extra stuff. Or Tom Gioli stuff ordered. I remember ordering
Yeah,
like 8 copies of like probably that's probably the highest, maybe not the highest, but it was kind of high
we
for a book. I ordered a
yeah
lot of
we
Myth of Eight Opus.
we love Myth of Eight Opus, and you had copies of Battle Pope before Kirkman was
Yeah.
like anything.
Well,
You
that's
know,
because
he
I was like, this will sell because it's goofy looking and the art looks cool.
yeah, Tony Moore. It was early
It's
Tony Moore.
Funkotron. Funkotron. That was
That's right.
yeah, it was Kirkman. But Jim Ballant was buying a bunch of stuff, and then we were discounting. So you can just have it. Like you're not even. I don't even think we paid them.
No,
I don't think they got paid. Like I don't think Dan paid. Not that he didn't not pay them, but asked them to do a signing, and they did not get paid to promote the book. And then on top of, and because they were doing like Ment jumped over to Catwoman to do Catwoman year one. But what ended up happening was like I was trying to discount the comics for Jim Ballant, and he's like, "Do
hmm
not do that." He's like, "I want it retail. I want a receipt." And I was like, "Holy crap!" So that's pretty cool. I mean, he still pops in and does pinups here and there when asked, but for the most part, which we kind of goofed on, but I believe Tarot is on like 180 or something right now. The
yeah,
Tarot Witch of the
they
Black, like
they
they
wanted to
self-publish.
relaunch Catwoman, and he's like, "What are you doing? I've been on this book forever. Like, this is people buy that book because he was on it. He had a loyal following,
Mhm.
and they got rid of him. And I think it hurt his feelings so much that he didn't want to work for DC for a minute. So he went and formed his own company with his super hot wife, Tarot, and made Tarot.
Mhm.
I forget the subtitle of the comic,
Yeah, Witch of the
but
Black
she's like,
Rose, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, something like that, where it's just his wife in like a skimpier outfit. But then they like I bought it for a while because I like he was so nice. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a Jim Ballant collector, and I bought that series for a long time. It wasn't written great, but it was really solid art. And like as the series went on, it was just his wife just got more and more nude, and just became kind of like a
Well, I think
not quite
now it's a full adult comic, and
yeah
but those were early variant covers that he would do nude variants for 10
yeah
bucks. Like so that was kind of a
no
uh,
great.
that was
I'm not
progressive considering it was 1998. You know what I
I'm not
mean?
even admonishing him for it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm like I you know who doesn't love
Look, they're
new drawings?
fully that he doesn't have another job. You know what I mean? Like and they're really good to their fans because he has a lot of times in the books now he has fan art in the back,
Yeah,
and there's always pictures of them at a con posing with fans.
super. They were so
So
nice at cons.
that's a big
She would take
look,
pictures with
man.
you. You
His
know,
entire career is based on his fans because all his fans went. All of his fans went, including
yeah,
you.
because he's like a super nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, and they were doing everything. They were doing like tarot perfume, and they embraced the Wiccan community. And I think they were selling like panties at one point. Like they just embraced everything sexy about that comic.
Did you get the panties or you
I
supporting?
didn't I did not get the panties. I didn't support that much. Um,
Uh, yeah. You
this
sent this to
is
me, but I don't know what this is. I forget what you told me
all
what
right.
this is.
This is the Horde. I forget what it's called now. Darn it, Mark. This is the Hordax.
Layer.
Yeah, it's his lair. I've blanking on the
But
name.
but see, I'm confused with this. Is this like? But see,
Do you
I
have
need an
the other?
action
Do you have
figure
the
in
other
there.
picture?
No, I think that's all I put in.
Oh, well, the other picture is the front. See, this is from behind, so it doesn't look like what it is I actually sent you.
What it is.
What it is. But for the front picture, see, this creature here from the front was like a hand puppet. You could like eat your He-Mans. You know, Hordak was the main villain, was what the second main villain of He-Man, and became the villain of She-Ra.
Mhm.
Um, and this was his little. It's a new playset. It's not that big, but it's
That's what she
awesome. I
said.
can't believe I just forgot the name, dude.
That's what she said.
You know, I was talking to Milligan. Milligan's a whiz at Wheel of Fortune. I said, you know, but here's the thing, Mark. When you're put on the spot, when you're put on the spot, your
You're a
brain
whiz
like
at Wheel of
freezes.
Fortune.
He is. He is.
That's funny.
Um,
I've never
I said,
heard anyone
but
do
if you're
that.
on that show, Brian, you would forget like half the stuff. He goes, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you and I'll talk and we'll get deep in a conversation. We'll be throwing names out at each other. And then I get on here and I'm like, oh, I forgot the name of the Hordak thing, which
The
when I
Hordak
sent it
lair.
to you, yeah, I sent it to you. I totally remember the
You
name.
told me what it was, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "I know what that is." And now I can't remember it. So, I'll throw in the other. I'll
We're
throw
we're
in the other side. Yeah, I
we're
need an
not
action figure in
even.
here because I can't tell. This seems like it's this big. This seems like it's this big. I know it's not probably,
Yeah,
but
it's
it seems so small because of how it is. So Hordak
put it this
sits
way.
there.
Yeah, Hordak sits there, so that
Wow.
should give
Okay.
you a frame of reference. We're not even
Yeah.
50 yet, dude, and we're like, what was
Got to take
that?
that St. John's wort. Got to get back to that. So in other news, you were saying so before I have this in the news, but you said that something else popped up that they're ending the Absolute Universe at the end of 25.
No, no, no. I said they're doing a crossover at the end of 2025,
Oh, I see.
and
Okay.
I
I
said
thought you meant it
that's
was
too.
ending.
No, no, no. The
That's too far away or too soon.
I think it's too soon. I think 1 year of delving into this universe isn't enough.
Speaking of being old, I thought it was 2024 just now. I said, yeah, but that's the end of next year. No, it's not. Listen, the one
No,
hour time
it's
difference thing is messing me up. Daylight
yeah.
savings, baby.
We are recording this the morning after daylight savings begins,
Right.
and Mark and I are very pro daylight savings being year round. I hate in
I hate the
December
change. I'm
when it
looking
goes
at what
back to
time is it?
when it goes back to standard time in December, where it's dark at 4:30 in the afternoon. No me gusta. I do not like.
No me gusta. We
No
embrace
me
all
gusta.
Spanish.
No me gusta un poco. I throw out some Spanish every once in a while. I only have like 2 years of high school Spanish, 1 year of college Spanish, which was easy because 1 year of college Spanish was just high school Spanish all over again. So it was like I aced that class
I
without
got
even
eight
like
years
opening
of
the book.
Catholic school, so I got religion class. So I can tell you about Jesus
Can you?
a little bit.
Do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior?
Not right now. No. It was in
So
three separate spaces.
so
Father,
the other
Son, and the
day,
Holy Ghost.
the supervisor is handing me packages for my truck at the end of the day, and my truck was just full. And I'm like, no mas, pendejo. And he's like, what did you say to me? Like he got all angry, like he's fluent in Spanish.
Wow. That's not even bad. That's not even bad and
I
shit.
think it's like bitch, right? Pendejo's bitch.
I don't even know. I
I
don't
think
know.
so. No, puta's bitch, pendejo's asshole. Because when you take Spanish in high school, you definitely learn all the curses.
First. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's
not
all
like
I
I
ever
called
learned.
him. It's not like I called him cabron, which is the biggest insult, which is now like a common insult.
Yeah. I don't even know what that means.
It means you let your wife bang other dudes, um, and you're such a wimp, you don't do anything about it.
Wow.
Like
That's
you,
cuck.
like yeah, yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
But
That was in
that used to be
Desperado.
like you would fight people if they said that. But now it's just like it's a casual curse word now. I
No
guess
good.
everything offensive becomes
We need to bring
non-offensive after a while.
we need to bring back non-casual curse words, you know. Uh well
So
see,
going back to this. So going back to
so I'm confused because when you said that I was like they're going to cancel all the Absolute. I thought it was doing well. So when you told me that I like had the wrong
no,
reference. I had the wrong year. So you're
yeah,
saying by the end of this year. So that should put Absolute Batman to 14 because that
roughly
started
13,
October.
14. Yeah.
Okay.
Superman and Wonder Woman right at around
And
12 or
these will be
13.
right around 6. So Flash and Absolute, so
They'll be around
Scott was on a
8.
lot of podcasts over the last 3 weeks, so he's doing like another wave of promotion as the next ones are coming out. Again, he doesn't have to do promotions for these books, but he's on other shows doing that, so that's pretty fun. So he is dropping a lot of information about Absolute Martian Manhunter. But that's a lot. Like I feel like my numbers are skewed on that, but 120,000 seems like a lot, right? Like what was
It seems like a lot. And it is a lot because it's Absolute Martian Manhunter. It's the book that you think would sell the least, but
because it's so not
it's
looking like Martian Manhunter.
yeah. But it's also like kind of a good team. This might be the
It
second
is.
breakout book. This might
Right.
be the second book, like, it might be not that it's launching to the numbers that Absolute Batman launched to, but it's launching to really good numbers as a second tier book about a character that can't even hold its own regular DC Universe comic.
Mhm.
You know? That's what's interesting about Absolute Martian Manhunter. There's no Martian Manhunter in the DC Universe.
Right.
Flash, I think Absolute Flash launched at 100,000.
Yeah,
So
that's what this is saying. Yeah. So
So that's
that's
20,000 less for a character that has had a movie, has had his own TV show, and who has his own DC comic right now.
has never not had an ongoing series. He's never not
Correct.
had one. He's not there hasn't been a month since 1986
But
since
the comics
or
community
before that probably, right?
has
Because they
really never
canceled.
done. But
Is there a gap in between the last issue of the Flash, the trial of the Flash? I think there is, I guess. There might be a
I,
year or
there's
two.
not much of one.
Right. So Flash has been published for. 40 years at least.
Well, you know what's
No,
interesting about
50
Flash
years.
is Flash takes over the Golden Age numbering. So I'd like
Hmm.
to know is how long of a time is there between original Golden Age Flash? Jrjr Flash went up to 105. How long? And
Really?
that ended in the 50s. How long between that and Showcase 4? And then how long between Showcase 4 and Flash 10? Maybe
So if you,
Flash gets 105. Silver Age
if
Flash gets
yeah,
105. Jay Garrick ends at 104.
there's 105 issues of original Flash.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
And what's crazy
So
about that,
if you
Mark,
legacy number that, what would you do? Would
it
you
is
just
legacy
start from
numbered.
Barry? It is?
Yeah, because Barry gets 105.
Hmm.
Flash, there is no Silver Age Flash number one. There's Silver Age Flash 105. He just takes over Golden Age Flash numbering.
Is
Is
that
that
how they have it
strange?
now? Yeah, that
Yeah.
is strange. Yeah. Huh. I don't know if I agree with that. That's okay.
Doesn't
Whatever.
matter. We weren't even born yet.
Doesn't matter. It matters to
But
me.
no, but here's what's weird, Mark. So you gave Flash legacy numbering, but not Green Lantern? Is that weird?
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, I don't know how you do green. Well, maybe maybe
Well,
everything will
because
eventually get that.
there's probably 100 issues of Golden Age Green Lantern. So
Right, right, right.
why didn't Hal Jordan get that Golden Age numbering? But Barry Allen did get the Golden Age numbering.
Well, because I think I mean it could even come down to like, how long. When did they eventually decide that they were going to have? We don't need. I don't. Neither of us know this answer, but like, or maybe you do. When did they decide that Alan Scott? Like, when did Alan Scott and Hal Jordan meet? I should say. Like, what is that? Do
Did
we
they
know
meet?
that? A crisis?
No, they met on
No, no, no. That's
Crisis
right.
on
No.
Two Earths. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
technically,
right.
you're correct. Crisis on Two Earths.
Right.
The Golden Age. I mean, the Silver Age Justice League, where they meet the Justice Society.
Right. And they have their annual. Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
it would have been cooler if they could have met outside of that, like Jay
Like
Garrick.
Flash did.
Yeah, like the Flashes met. The Flashes
Mhm.
met outside of that.
Right.
It's
Very famous
interesting.
cover. The most famous cover.
When did
Julie
Sensational end?
Schwartz.
Julie Schwartz, really nice guy. I mean,
Uh,
to me, at a convention, Julie Schwartz was really awesome,
Jesus. Wow.
but I wasn't like a hot chick, so
You
I
didn't
had a different.
understand.
I
You
didn't
didn't
have a
understand.
reaction. So anyway,
Uh,
back to comics.
yep.
Yeah, I don't like how they say you're not going to enjoy Absolute Martian Manhunter if you buy it digitally. I'm like, yeah, but I
Well,
like digital comics.
yeah, but I think I get it. Like, there was an issue of Batman that if you remember, you had to like kind of like turn upside down. It was a Scott Snyder thing. So I feel like here they're going to do something similar where they're going to have some type of like, but I mean, you can screen lock it. You know what I mean? So I guess you're right.
Or or if you're lazy, you just try to hold your iPad and then you ever
Right.
do this? I remember when I was rereading Promethea. Promethea had a bunch of crazy issues. And I'm like, well, let me hold it like this and then just turn it so it's on the opposite angle so the iPad doesn't realize it's upside down.
Oh, I see. Right. You can screen. Yeah, but I mean
I
that's
know. Or
easier.
I could have just
Just
screen
screen
locked
lock
it.
it. Yeah. So, but no, I understand. It's but I do want to shout out like Scott Snyder to be promoting these books because he's a bigger name to get on a podcast, and then it's causing. And he had a couple extra names of people, but I didn't pull the article because I was like the names of extra people doing Absolute books in the future. I don't know who they are. They were like media people. They weren't real people. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't really
media
lock into
people are
Dennis.
real people.
I
People
didn't
too.
really lock into Dennis Camp till he started Ultimates.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
So, but now I see his name, I'm like, yeah, this dude I'll follow. I think I'll follow him
Yeah.
anywhere now.
Right. I think so. And I want to see. He had kind of a interesting start, so I might go back and kind of pull some of his stuff. Take
Yeah,
a look
what
at that
is it
stuff.
21st Century Men or something like that?
Yeah, that's
It's about
supposed to be
us.
great. That's supposed to be
Yeah,
like excellent.
that's the
And I
book like
haven't
I
I
have
haven't
written
read that.
down like gotta get this book.
Somehow last night, for whatever reason, I think it was from the Thundercats cover. I was thinking about Jay Lee, and I went into the DC app, and I've never read or I did, or I skimmed it maybe, the Greg Pak Jay Lee series, the
Oh, the
World's
super
Finest,
yeah, the world right.
or Superman Batman, I guess they call it Superman Batman, I think.
I think it's Batman Superman.
Batman
But it's like
Superman.
volume 3 of that book or volume 2 of that book.
Yeah, they relaunched it, and then it goes from Jay Lee to Brett Booth, back to Jay Lee, and then I think I don't know who else does it, but it's really weird to jump into that because it has like New 52 Superman and like uh Grant Morrison Superman. Like it's like, and then they're meeting each other, and then Lois is pissed off because like that the young Superman is in love with Wonder Woman shows up. Like, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I don't remember who's where, so I'm a little confused, but I'm just looking at it. But going
New
on the DC
52
app,
was
doing
just
panel to
so hard.
panel, the reason I mentioned that when you just said
Yeah.
that is that, doing panel to panel, looking at the Jay Lee art like big is pretty fun. That's pretty fun stuff. Yeah.
Wildcats trilogy is on the DC app. The Jay Lee, that's the book he did right after Youngblood Strike File. But speaking of Jay Lee, so you can read Wildcats trilogy on there. But also currently right now on the Rob Messick Twitter, I'm doing Jay Lee's covers, and right now I'm doing promo ads. He did 4 promo ads for Youngblood Strike File of Chapel, with just Chapel with a
Oh yeah.
gun
I have
with a
one
knife
right
coming out of
behind
it.
me. I have one in the Wizard. It's the Wildcats cover, and then right inside that cover is the Youngblood Strike File ad. So Jay Lee was so busy at one point,
Yeah,
they came out relatively close in publication date, which is kind of crazy.
they're beautiful. The Wildcats trilogy and his Chapel story in Youngblood Strike File, awesome. And then he did those two, and then he goes right to Hellshock. So we should do a thing because he did a ton of promo ads for Hellshock, like just one cover
Hellshock
after another
one
after another.
is like he has so much art in Hellshock issue one. There's barely a story in issue one. There's like seven,
No,
8 pages of issue one, and then just a
and
bunch of
and
art.
yeah, but and then none of the promo ads in it. Like it's like you did
Right.
so much work. Like this book should have been. We would love to collect that. Awestruck editions. We
I
talk
think
about doing
Dynamite
our
did some type of collection, but
no, but it was the volume two,
it was volume two. Zero of volume one. Nothing
which
of
is
volume
his
one.
no, nothing of volume one. And I understand it's a better story, but it's not.
It's a complete story, correct? But
It's a complete
it's
story.
not. Just give us that because I even think that the last issue of Hellshock 4 has art for us, or one of them has art for a story that never came out. That
Correct.
so
But like I
yeah,
want everything. Give me the
get in there.
promo ads. Give me. Does he have a card in the Creators Universe? I feel like he does.
Yes,
You know,
we gotta go. We gotta do a Creators Universe. We should
episode
Creators Universe and
absolutely.
get Nick on, and then have him like go through like how does this happen? How did you do this? So,
Yeah.
but spiraling back to the news, here we go. So,
Yeah, we do a news show sometimes between our
and
conversations.
well, I think that's part of the news show. That's what we always say. We have like no news. Like the last week when we had like 2 weeks ago we had one or two. Last week we had bits of news. We're like we don't even have barely any news, and then it was 2 hours.
Ridiculous.
Monsterverse sequel. I'm really confused at like who has what because I feel like we talk about Godzilla every week basically, right? But Godzilla is being published at DC at DC versus Justice League or Godzilla versus
Right,
Justice
right.
League.
Godzilla versus
Marvel's
Justice
going to
League.
have it, but Marvel's
Right.
going to have, but that's MonsterVerse there. That's MonsterVerse over there. At
Justice League versus Godzilla. Right, and then you got Marvel
right.
versus Godzilla.
But
You have
Marvel
Godzilla
versus
at
Godzilla
IDW.
is Toho Godzilla,
Kind of. Right.
kind of. Yeah, it's not.
Or
It's not
it's either
old
Toho or it's
Marvel.
Marvel. No, it's not old Marvel.
No, but the artists are kind of playing around in the Toho
We've
timeline or the Heisei timeline or you know,
we've come we seem to have this discussion every week. Like rights aren't exclusive anymore. Like they're not. Like McFarlane's doing Turtle Toys, Playmates is doing Turtle Toys, NECA's
right.
doing Turtle. Like Mattel's doing He-Man Turtle Toys. Like things aren't exclusive anymore. So
Yeah,
like what
I
you and I
I
complained
saw
about.
the Optimus Prime Jada replica yesterday at Target because it doesn't transform. So
Right.
it's by Jada. It's $25, I think. Did you get that? Are you getting that? It
Probably
does
not.
not transform.
I'll look at it. Like I said, I can't. I've trimmed down my toy collecting to like I have to see it and really
Yeah.
want it. You know, uh, it's an interesting world. So that's why like this book is being published by Titan, right? Titan's doing a
Yeah,
Kong
it's
book.
Legendary Comics and then it's being put out through Titan. So it's Titan's like license. Like I feel like Titan has Conan Comics, but it's pretty much put together from, the Conan people and then Titan puts
Yes,
it out, you
yeah,
know.
that's why they took it away from Marvel because not that they disliked what Marvel was doing, they just wanted to be more involved, which usually doesn't work. Usually, the more you own something, like the IP holders sometimes don't have a understanding of what they own because like,
Yeah,
oh,
the
I'm the
Conan's
the great
the
niece of the creator, like
yeah. Or like as a John Goldwater, like Archie was stunted for a while,
yes,
before they kind of got broken back out. But you're right, is that like basically towards the end of the sales were going down at Marvel because Jim Zub is a less famous writer than, but they didn't really promote after Jason Aaron left.
yeah. But Jim Zub is a bigger fan, which
Right.
doesn't always mean you're talented.
So
But
the
Jim
tail end
Zub
of that,
was
but even then, even the tail end of that series, I'm like, well, Jason Aaron's not writing. I don't really care about Jim Zub that much, so I don't care. But there,
yes,
but like, thankfully, the Titan, the people, I'm sorry, the Conan estate, essentially, the people in charge, uh, he got the pitch and he pitched them. They asked
yeah.
him to pitch, and he's like, they're not hiring me. He even told his wife, he's like, they're not going to hire me. They never, there's no relaunch where they hire someone who just ended the last series. It's beyond rare. It never
There's
happens,
the only exception is Zub and Larry Hama.
Oh, right, right.
But
Larry
like,
Hand.
yeah, IDW didn't hire Brad Mick, which is
Mhm.
James McDonough and Adam Panic mixed together as a name, you know, and then Kirkman didn't hire Furman or John Barber or James
Right.
Roberts or any of the IDW writers or
You're
artist, even
right.
the artist, which
Yeah.
are some of the best Transformer artists of all time. Like
Yeah, I
those
don't
guys
think
are
that's,
incredible.
I think maybe eventually it'll start to rotate in. Listen, they make enough covers. I feel like number one is up to like 17, 18 covers. You know what I mean? Like it's a
Yeah,
lot. Maybe more
I,
than that, probably more than that,
I feel
you
like
know?
Andrew Griffith or what's the other artist? I think they did like a store exclusive for a Transformers cover, which is cool, but it's not like real.
Yeah, it's not, it's
It's like a
basically
step.
like, well, even this week I didn't put it in there, but there's a guy who makes bendies. He makes wrestling bendies that are not out. So he does his own 3D print. He makes like his own action figures, and
Right.
he's buying a Amazing Spider-Man variant with like two wrestlers on it. So it's Amazing Spider-Man number one. The new
Oh
one's
yeah, I
coming
saw that.
out,
I saw that.
and
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, well that means that we probably we could just make an All-Star Comics 1,000 print run. Just do like, we'll get Amazing Spider-Man. We're like, hey, everybody, it's me. It's us, Amazing Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like it's like everyone's in the game. My brother's in the game, but he does everything like store specific. His Vampirella covers this week were awesome. Like they're
Yeah.
really good
I did
looking.
I did see that.
Yeah, so
So
both of
so
them are really,
funny.
really good.
Every week we just pound our heads like Mark's brother makes comic book variant covers.
Yeah, it's
Like
funny.
we are so in the weeds about artists and inkers and letterers and colorists and publishing history.
Right.
We just dive deep and your brother's like, "Oh, big kitty covers," or "I'll
Yeah.
do."
Yeah, but
Um,
a lot of them are good. Well, his Transformers covers, I want to see if I might write to him like, hey, I want that I don't know if you saw the one. It's like an 80s like plane, and there's an Optimus Prime one that he did that's like really cool. Like it's very 80s. It's like
Write your
that
brother,
poster. Like Knife
dearest
Music.
John. I hope I hope
Dearest John.
I hope the weather finds you well in this day and age.
Do can you spare me
Perchance,
perchance do you have a busted copy of this issue that you're going to throw out or put to the side
for
because you
for
won't sell it 9.8,
for I
you
do
know?
not need the mintiest of conditions. Below
Oh my
below
God.
the egg shall hatch.
Yeah. Uh, so anyway, back to this. So I put this on the news because we love Simon Furman, big Simon Furman fan,
Yeah,
creator of an original Death Set, original. Here we go, original Death Set right here. Death Set.
that is.
It's always at arm's length. I have a Death Set something
We
at
are
arm's
fans
length.
of Simon Furman. We
Yeah,
should call ourselves something like fairies, right? Is that taken?
I
Can
think
we
that's
call ourselves
taken.
that?
I don't,
Darn.
I don't think we should. But we don't want to misrepresent, ourselves or
The
them. They don't want to associate with us either, so it's no problem. But yeah, so we're confused at this because there was a Kong series recently that Dynamite did. So I'm just like, well, what's that Kong series? That's not. Then you mentioned something about King Kong.
yeah, I said that King Kong is owned by Universal, but the
Right.
word Kong is not. So that's why you have Kong of Skull Island. That's why you have Kong here, Kong. Like you can do
Well,
Kong,
that's what it says Return. But I don't even think this says Kong Skull. I think it just says Return Skull, and that's it. Like, yeah,
right?
license.
But even the movie, what was the movie called?
It was
What was the
Kong Skull
original?
Island.
Right.
It wasn't
Not
King
King,
Kong.
but he's not King Kong. But however, King Kong does go into public domain in the next 10 years. But it doesn't matter. 'Cause you just call him Kong. Anyone,
Well, the
you and
Godzilla
I
versus
can.
Kong movie they're making right now. I feel they should. I mean, again, they're not going to listen. I think you need to flip it. The last Godzilla versus Kong movie was no one's mad that Godzilla was kind of not in that movie because it did such a good job with Kong. So I don't think
Yeah,
anyone's going to get mad. They need to balance a little bit more in the next one. The first Godzilla vs. Kong was pretty 50-50. The second one was 70-30, but I don't really care because they did such a good job with the Kong storyline
yeah,
that that works. Now they're making the new one now, new, but I feel like they should like no one's gonna get mad if they flip it. No one's gonna be like, that's not I can't put it on my DVD shelf the right way. Who cares? It's not really that way anymore. Like Deadpool 3 is not Deadpool 3, right?
correct,
Technically.
correct.
Um, I don't know. I like the consistency of it. But yeah, so this is and again, let's see, it's set in the world of Skull Island the animated series. It's set in 93, happening after the show. Oh my God, I'm so confused. I don't know. I don't even, I never there's a Netflix animated series. Do I know this? Is that now? I don't even
I
know.
think so. Oh my God, I totally forgot about it.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm gonna write that down and watch
But I
it.
didn't like, but they a couple years ago, and they count in continuity. There's three animated movies that Japan made, and I tried to watch them, and I don't care. But technically, they count as like Heisei plus, so it's whatever we're in now in Godzilla -1 continuity, right? It
Right.
it technically counts in that numbering. Monsterverse counts in different numbering. Monsterverse doesn't count in the 40 something.
Yeah.
Um, whatever. But listen, whatever. This looks
Listen,
good.
I
Chris
need
Jones,
I
Christopher
need the
Jones,
other I need the other Godzilla monsters to come back. I want to see Rodan back. Can I
Ian
just get more
Lee.
Rodan?
Uh,
Can we get Space Godzilla? What is the next Godzilla Kong movie? Are we ever going to get another Godzilla movie? Or is it just Godzilla Kong forever?
I almost feel like it's Godzilla Kong. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's like Kong was almost in the same situation with like Hulk, right? It's funny that there are these big like masses of things, right? Because
Yeah.
Hulk movies, they can't make Hulk movies because they don't want to pay Paramount. There's not enough. Are you kidding? Like,
Universal.
there's not enough money, right? You can't be Universal. There's not enough. You mean there's not
Na
enough money? Well, actually, there
Namor
isn't.
too. Namor too. Namor's owned by Universal too.
You mean
The movie
Namor?
rights.
Namor?
Namor.
Um, eh, like I hate that there's that they can't make like they compromised the new Cat movie to make a Hulk sequel. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like they can't keep making these non-Hulk things. And funny is She-Hulk literally was created for licensing, right? Because they didn't want someone to license
They
She-Hulk.
didn't
Is
want
that
someone
right?
else to. Someone else could come along and make
And
a She-Hulk
Spider-Woman
and
too, right? Spider-Woman was the same
Spider-Woman
thing.
too.
They're like, oh, we better do that. Let's make a cartoon of Spider-Woman, which is barely continuity, or it's not. I don't even know. That's on. I think that's on Disney Plus. I'm pretty sure that is. Um,
Yes,
I
it
don't know.
is. I think I saw it there.
I don't know. Anyway. So
Anyway,
I know we talked earlier about Mondo. So you're saying that Funko bought Mondo. That's probably not good because then they're showing a big loss here. And I feel like last year we talked about this in a previous show. Didn't they like have to dispose of like a ton of plastic? Like
yeah,
a ton of
they had a bunch of product in a warehouse and they were spending more on the warehouse than what the value of the contents inside. Because the thing about collectibles is everyone rushes out to get the new thing. Your old thing barely ever sells. Once it's old, it's like, you sell it occasionally for new collectors that come in, but like there's already plenty of that stuff on eBay or wherever. So
right,
like the fact that you're storing it, you'll never make that money for that stuff. So they took it all to, and it wasn't like hot selling stuff. People were like, oh, Funko got rid of all this stuff. Yeah, it's stuff that wasn't selling. It's old
right,
stuff. It's
right.
stuff that just wasn't any good anymore. And why pay for the warehouse space? Because you're paying for that monthly. So, but now this year it's showing a Q4 and a full year loss. Now is that did they lose money or did they just make less?
Yeah, see, we talk about this, and this is where I don't understand these reports because like I'm just like, and we talk about this when I worked for Toys R Us, and we would do an inventory, and the store itself made the one store I worked for in Burlington, New Jersey, we made $837, and I was like, we, I kind of feel like as a business, we shouldn't just be self paying. Like we literally made everyone just whoever worked there, we broke even, right? I don't think we can really sustain keep doing that, right? Like there's got to be we have to make more to pay for corporate stuff that isn't paying for stuff. I know that in the mortgage industry, like
Yeah,
we have
but
to this many
what
loans and make this much profit, blah 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 blah.
you're not
But
taking
here,
into account the companies that pay Toys R Us to display their stuff on the ends
yeah, I'm
of
not
it. You
seeing
know
the
what I mean?
other stuff, right? But
You're
I
not
just
seeing
feel
you're
like as a store, profit wise, if we're there selling the actual products for X dollar,
yeah,
you
no,
know,
there's a bigger picture there. That's why they keep that store open. we talk about in the past that like don't like if this were more corporately owned, and I don't know the breakdown of Funko. I don't know if you can go by Funko shares. Like if this
Mm.
were public, they would go, "Oh, we didn't make as much as last year. This company's done. Let's divvy it up." And I don't like those moves. Just because you make a little less money than the year before doesn't mean you're not still making $197 million. You're
Right,
still
right. We
making a
can't
ton of
say.
money.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
You know, so all right, it's a little weaker. Guess what? The whole economy's weaker.
yeah.
Funko's
Mhm.
been around for 10 plus years. People aren't as into it as they used to be. The fans are still hardcore.
Mhm.
So, if you gotta minimize the whole thing, you gotta make it a little smaller, make it a little leaner. I get it.
Yeah, they're gonna pull stuff back, I guess, because they have Funko stores. They're probably gonna pull those back. That'll be the first to go to retail stores probably if they do
Well,
that.
yeah, the first thing you go is everyone fire one person
Mhm.
and just do more work because that's the corporate thing to do. The most amount of work by the least amount of
Right,
people.
right, right.
So you could do minor things and probably make up what little they didn't make as much. But Funko's still viable. They're still going to do Superman movie toys and Fantastic Four movie toys and whatever cartoon. Do they have Blue-Eyed Samurai? That was a big hit last year.
Oh, right, right, right,
Or what's the anime kind of thing with a girl with the blue hair?
right.
Arcane?
Demon Slayer.
No,
Oh, Arcane.
Arcane. Arcane's super hot this year. Is there Arcane pops? I hope so. I'm not,
Probably.
I'm not a Funko expert.
Yeah, to me,
Our boy Milligan is.
yeah, to
He'd
me,
be like, "You
I
guys are
feel like
more."
they make the same
He right
stuff.
now he's saying, "You guys are morons. You guys don't. You should have me on the show talking
Right,
about
right, right. Probably.
all the."
If he ain't watching the show, come on, guys.
Ian
Uh,
will never watch the show. Milligan's cool because at least he listens to it. He
yeah,
watches. He does it at work, and I'm like, well, thank God somebody does.
yeah, yeah.
I
The
don't know. We got our 30, 40 hardcores. Hey,
I think yeah, I think
we
Super
thank you.
7, yeah, we thank you. We I think the Super 7 is doing a better job like diversifying all their stuff. Like I was in Target yesterday and I was looking at the Ben Cooper toys. Did you see those?
I
It's
seen one of
literally
them. Yeah,
it's
they're
literally a kid. It's I don't it's an action figure of a kid with a costume on and then they're
yeah.
making costumes of Ben Cooper costumes that are not ever created. I think that's really cool. They're doing a Jaws
No,
one.
that's an awesome idea.
That's
I
such
would
an
have loved
and
the
that's so
Jaws.
cool.
I would have
So
loved that as a
they
kid.
didn't make it. Like
Correct.
I have Super 7 masks downstairs. I have the Godzilla which is it might even be but then they made a Mecha Godzilla one. They didn't make a Mecha Godzilla mask, a Ben Cooper mask.
Right.
This was like a new as if they did. Here it is. And I was
I
like,
like that
shit.
idea. Like I, as a kid, had the Ben Cooper Hulk costume, and it came with a green crayon, which just like sucked. Like my mom was trying to color my hand green,
Oh, it came with a crayon
greenwashing.
to make you green. Oh my God, that's
Yes,
so funny.
but like in that world that you're talking about, they could make not only a kid wearing that Hulk costume, but they could make a kid wearing a gray Hulk costume or a red Hulk costume.
Mhm.
Something that's what you're saying, and something that never happened, but like you could do that,
Yeah, that's
and
why we
that's
like
cool.
the McFarlane's doing the superpowers and
Yeah,
he did Jrjr and he did Thomas Wayne Batman. He did
yeah,
Flash
I
Wayne
love that.
Batman.
Yeah,
Great idea. That great. So yeah, so to me when I see them do a loss, I'm just like, well, I feel like every side Funko thing, like even when were making t-shirts, they made t-shirts of what a Funko looked like. I'm like, why are you doing t-shirts like that? Like I already have like you know what I mean? Or they sell the set. I don't know.
yeah.
I have a handful of them. I have a handful of Funkos. I have an Abe Sapien, a Lobster Johnson, and I have a Speed Racer. I had a Hellboy, but it fell and
I
broke.
don't, I don't have any. I
Uh,
always tell Milligan
oh, you
I'm
don't
like
have any.
Milligan, the day they do amalgam Spider Boy, I'll buy that one. And
You
I'm
should get a
like, haha.
custom.
Well,
You
what's
might as
funny is,
well.
I'm like, haha, that'll never happen. Except now Marvel and DC are doing a crossover this year. I'm like, oh crap, I might have to eat crow on that.
Yeah,
Like,
you
they
have to
might
buy
actually
it.
make that toy. I
Probably not.
mean, made a swear in front of God, my God,
Your God,
that
El
Elohim in the
Elohim,
highest.
which is that Timothée Chalamet's character in Dune. Um, so here's Mad Cape again. Like diversify your stuff, man. So this is kind of interesting. So this is a Gotchaman
I thought we weren't doing diversity anymore. Isn't that the?
that we're doing well in comic books. I'm talking about comic books and publishing and toys. That's what I mean. So yeah, Mad Cave Studios announced that it'll publish the manga Infinity Force, which has things that I don't know. Like it's
Now
Gotchaman,
is this
Kashan.
Neil Adams T Force, Mr. T and the T Force?
No,
Ah,
Infinity.
I got
Uh,
it.
Science 19 Gotchaman, which is probably the same model of the Gotchaman that it's always the same Gotchaman. It's always the same Battle of the Planets. But then I don't know anything about Kashan and Hurricane Polymer and Tech Command and the Space Knight. But don't care. But I think it's kind of fun that they're able to, but they're taking whatever I guess Udon published some of this before, and
Right.
then they're making new. Uh, but I don't know I don't know.
That looks awesome as shit.
I like the design. The tech designs look
Yeah.
crazy. They look really cool. So
Listen, Mark, if you ever have a problem, I got you, man.
I gotcha, man. There you go.
I got you, man.
There we go. We got to cut that out,
You would
man.
think I was drunk today, like just like doing stupid puns the past couple
No, it's
minutes.
just an extra hour of sleep. We lost an
What's
hour of
what's
sleep.
what's in this coffee?
I
Irishing
don't
it
know.
up. I can
We
say that because I'm
lost
part
an hour.
Irish.
Uh, we might have covered this before, but I think there's two things here is that, Shade the Changing Man Omnibus. I didn't realize that he did that much, but I do like this here, new afterword, and this I think this is new information. New
See,
a new afterword and commentary by artist Chris Bacalo and an art gallery.
Pacello.
Pachalo,
It's.
1,424 page hardcover. Holy crap.
Do you wanna do the math on that, Mark? I know you.
I
I know you. I
like
know you like that.
oh yeah, hold on. I got my calculator
So
here.
while you're doing that math, this is incredible. This is a lot of issues. 1 through 50, the Who's Who entry from 7 to 15, and a story from
Nine
Vertigo Jam.
cents.
9 cents a page. It's not bad. Think how much a deal that is compared to what a normal comic cost.
And if you go on now and go on to like InStock Comic Trades or whatever, InStockTrades.com, like you can get it probably for half off. So you can probably get it for 75, 80. Um, but I think it's interesting down here. And it's funny. We were talking about how our tastes change, right? So it says Milligan and Tom Greinberg's 1992 series, which was a one shot, by the way, not a series. Catwoman
Right.
Defiant. But who did the Penguin one? So there were Brian Stelfree's covers, right?
Yeah.
So it was Catwoman Defiant, Penguin Triumphant.
Maybe.
I don't know who did. I don't remember who did that
I
book
think it was
either,
Penguin.
but I thought the art looked ugly in those books, so I didn't care. It was such a step down to have Batman. So Batman 1989 had an insane adaptation by Jerry Ordway, to
Beautiful.
which I have that hardcover. Did you ever see that hardcover?
Not in person.
Dude, that's the best because it has all the pencils. It has all the pencils in it. I think I
I
can
love
reach
it.
it.
I love that he did that book, not having seen the movie and just seeing stills. And I remember like being like, "Oh, this panel's wrong." He doesn't say it. His facial expression isn't that. But then you find out how he did it, and you're just like, "Holy crap,
Yeah.
dude!"
So the hardcover has the whole issue, but then let me see. How do they do this? Oh no, no, no. So they actually do they do it together? No, they do every page, and he also has photocopies of every page facing it. Photocopies of the pencils.
Beautiful.
Every page. Every page. So this is so geeky. And this is not that expensive too. This is $20.
I
20
always
bucks,
wanted
bro.
DC to hire him to do the Superman Lives movie adaptation. Like take the Kevin Smith script and just draw it. Like they should do that for like Flyby or just like I don't know. I think it would be a fun series of books to do. Just like let's
Yeah.
adapt things that never
Well,
got made.
yeah, they should do that because they have the Batman 89 book and they made didn't they made Two-Face Billy D. Williams in that, yeah?
Yeah,
Isn't that what they
yeah.
did? So and then they have Marlon Wayans as Robin. Um I don't remember this. Do you remember this where they actually have a Joker
Hold on,
UPC?
let me switch it up.
I don't know if you can see that. Oh no, can't go too far.
Oh man, I went to
They have a Joker
no.
UPC drawing
I feel like I
because
saw that.
because this
There was a
paperback.
newsstand. Wasn't there a newsstand edition of this? There was
Well,
two.
that's what
There
it
was two
is.
of them,
Yeah,
right?
the
Yeah,
newsstand had a different
yeah,
cover.
yeah. Right.
It wasn't
I
cardstock.
feel like that was on there.
It was $1 cheaper.
Yes. That
It was
is
250.
the best movie adaptation I think ever in comics.
Ever.
Like close seconds. I mean, Alan Davis drew the first Spider-Man movie adaptation.
Yeah,
That was good. I mean, you have like the Labyrinth one by who is that? That's
Brett Blevins.
Brad Blevins. Like that's really good. Yeah, George Perez on Blade Runner. There's really good movie adaptations, but like for our generation, getting the Batman
Yeah, this
is
was the
tops.
best. And again, this is when we can really look at the costume because he had full reference of costume.
Yeah,
We had a comic scene. I think you probably had the same thing. A comic scene yearbook. I had that
yeah,
right back here.
everything,
I have
every
that still.
magazine.
I still have my original comic scene yearbook from 1989. I still have it.
You know what's funny is I had that John Wesley ship poster in the Comic Scene magazine poster book.
Oh yeah.
They had like really nice John Wesley ship, Flash, and then I had like the Dolph Lundgren Punisher, and eventually when they came out with the Matt Salinger cap,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
That's
know,
right. That poster book. I should see if I can
Fright
find that
Zone.
poster book.
Mark, my brain just kicked in. The Hordak thing's called the Fright Zone. As I'm throwing out names of '90s actors who played superheroes,
Right.
all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, my brain's starting to work. Hordak, Fright Zone.
Hordak.
Is that weird? Like you can tell when your brain turns on for a minute.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, what else do I need to know? You know algebra from ninth grade? Let's do it. Let's do some chemistry.
Uh, Well, we were talking about how like we like things and we don't like things. So this is a Tom Grindberg. I want to look at that now, but at the time, I think it looked too movie-like. So if it didn't look that, this was a crazy balance. That was a crazy balance of like Jerry Ordway, comic book art, comic book storytelling, Denny O'Neil writing it, Steve Wolf colors, John Costanza. It was just like top. It was just A plus, A plus. So when the second movie came out, the second movie, do you remember who did the second adaptation?
Nope.
Steve Irwin is the guy who drew Deathstroke
The Crocodile
Deathstroke the
Hunter?
Terminator.
Amazing.
No, Deathstroke the Terminator, and it's still a good artist and all, but like,
Yeah,
but
I
it was
liked it, but
just
it
it's
was a step down.
fine. But because of how it goes, just like when Death Superman happened, they're like, well, let's just have a bunch of Superman stuff that just won't sell. Like I know that everyone was banking on what was it, Avengers of Superman 500, like the Resurrection issue, and everyone bought like thousands and thousands of copies of everyone, and it was
See,
like it's cover price
here's
forever,
the
or
thing,
it's a
Mark.
dollar.
By the time Batman Returns came out, like for me, the best thing would be just get Jerry Orway back. But he was finishing up Superman and starting to work on Wildstar. So he was like super busy
Right.
between those months. Because that was before Death of Superman was fall of '92.
Mhm.
So Jerry Orway is still attached to Death of Superman, but he wasn't attached to Funeral for a Friend or anything past that. I think he left with Death of Superman, right?
Yeah, he left, and then Carl Kiesel took over his writing.
Which is phenomenal. Carl Kiesel. That's the
Right.
best thing that ever happened to Carl Kiesel. Because
Right.
he made so much money from that. Like the Funeral for a Friend stuff sold like crazy.
Yeah, and
It got us all back.
he's a really good writer. He's really
He's a
good.
really good writer. I wish he would have did more in the past. But like, hey, but I will sit here and promote him. His Section Zero Kickstarters were both great. The second
Oh
one
yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
come out yet. It's a little Tom Grummett. Tom Grummett's problem is he keeps taking work from DC and Marvel, and I don't blame him. Take the money, but
Right.
like that Kickstarter is like a couple years old now. But to make up for it, Carl Kiesel does another one called Impossible Jones, where it's like a kind of a criminal who gets superpowers, but everyone
Mhm.
thinks once she has superpowers, they think she's a hero, but really she's still like a criminal at heart.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah. You told me
funny.
about that. Yeah,
It's pretty lighthearted. It's got some good stuff in it. So I always support his Kickstarters for that. Because you know what, like pros get paid, so I don't mind backing
let's
Kickstarters. I
get
don't
paid.
mind like pros get paid. I love that. That'll be your tattoo.
I don't think so.
No, no, it'll be
But
your
yeah, but I want to look at this now because it says Tom Grindberg. But no, so they put that in the Catwoman collection. So I think it's kind of cool. They're that they don't have they don't have like whatever the epic collections that Marvel has, but they're modeling their DC Finest collections, and then they just put the years on there. So they don't have. They seem to be doing a pretty good job collecting and crossovering and stuff like that. So they're doing some good stuff. But this is very specific. I really like those first 50 issues, but I don't know how. I guess I'm confused because
It
didn't
says
it?
most of them.
Yeah, but
The
doesn't
first
it
19
end?
issues have been collected, but the anything after that has never been collected.
Yeah, but
Wow.
like, but how are they going to do a volume two? Because I don't think that there's enough. I think there's only 20 issues left after. I think it ends at like 69 or something. So you're going to do a volume two of this, or you're just not going to do a volume two of it? So you're still going to have a space of it where it's not going to be reprinted. They never went back to it. Milligan never went back to it after that. As it went to Shade the Changing Woman. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, can you make like a 2,000 page omnibus? I don't know. Or maybe you should have made this smaller.
I made maybe like 1 through
36.
33 with everything else
You could
attached to
do
it.
the Vertigo, but pre-Vertigos. I want to say it was issues. It was in the 30s or maybe even almost 40s before it went to Vertigo. So the first couple, and then Buckingham, Mark Buckingham does a lot in here too. So he was the main anchor for the Bacalo. The Bacalo. Here's some sales data. Just to kind of talk about, we talk about a lot of reviews. So just to kind of blow through them, top Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman #1. So out of top 10, let me just kind of do some quick math here, right?
Okay.
So we got Marvel, one, which is an event book, two, three, four, five. So 50%. DC, one,
Has
two,
40%,
three, four,
4,
40%, and then Image one,
and then
10%.
Transformers. So this is really just, it makes sense. Absolute Batman, 1. Absolute Superman, 3. Absolute Wonder Woman, 7. That's pretty good for DC. Now, Marvel, it's funny. You're right. The event for #2 is One World Under Doom. That's #2.
Mhm.
Ultimate Wolverine's #4. Ultimate Spider-Man is #6. Where's no, am I over? Oh, Ultimates. So, like, out of the top 10 books, most of them are
Where's
absolutes and
Ultimate X-Men?
ultimates.
But see, here's what we're saying. Like, where's Ultimate X-Men? I don't see that on the top. I only grab the top 30. That's what I'm saying.
Ultimate X-Men is not in the top 30.
But
Wow.
Ultimate says, like that's what I'm
Ultimates is.
saying. But see
Where's
that we want to say that the originality of that technically Ultimate Wolverine, it's Wolverine. So Wolverine is already going to be, and it's #2. So it's going to kind of be slotted higher, period, because it's Wolverine,
correct?
right? But the
Correct.
Ultimates is for that to be on there and actually beating Spider-Man, I kind of really dig because we've been saying we want Dennis Camp to kind of just take over this universe and just keep doing this universe, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, please and thank you. Again, one, two, three, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, absolutes, sure. But what's the next? What's the next DC book? I don't really count Batman. I can't believe people just read Batman, and I think
It's
that's
not
so
you,
dumb.
it's Batman.
I know, but
Well,
I mean, I know, but like, stop reading. Now it doesn't
you know
matter
what though?
because they're not going to
You think
stop
this
reading
issue,
Batman.
you think this issue got a bump because it's the literal issue before Jim Lee? I don't know. There's like sometimes there's like an excitement, like, oh, I'm excited about Batman. Let me see what's going on before the Jim Lee issue.
Yeah, and what a bad issue to read too, like because everything
Well, because
wraps
it's the
up
last
and then
issue of a
this.
storyline.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of a bad. It's an okay wrap up, but then so like
So
looking at this, so the
so
first the first Marvel is what? X-Men at 10. X-Men's the
number
good
10
X-Men,
is X-Men, which is the X-Men book that we like the most.
right? And then
But before
Justina
X-Men,
Ireland,
right,
yeah,
Amazing Spider-Man is part of the that's Spider-Man, it's a big story. And then Carnage at #12. All right, we get it. It's a return to
variants,
Carnage. We love Carnage, just Eddie Brock, whatever. Magic 2,
mini.
it's a sexy X-Men character. Why wouldn't she? Zatanna's a surprise at #14.
It's pretty high. It's Jamal Campbell writing and drawing, so that's not he's not
That's
a
a good.
writer, so that's kind of a bad, not bad, but like it's kind of you're right. It's kind of surprising that it's that high. Uncanny because, and it should be lagging behind X-Men, which is funny because it I almost feel like it flips most of the time. Most of the time Uncanny is the more important, but I guess not.
It's funny
Amazing
that the
again.
next, yeah, but that's weird because Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, we don't know how close these numbers are. These numbers could literally be off by tens.
Right,
You
sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just funny that Amazing Spider-Man 68 isn't closer to Amazing Spider-Man 67
But what I
because you
said
had to
last
order
week in
them
reviews day,
because you had
like
to order them out of the same catalog.
right. Yeah. But what I said, remember last week on reviews day, the point deaths, which just make it X-Men, the 8 deaths of Spider-Man special, Juggernaut #1. It would be right here. Would be right here. Clearly, be right here. And I have no idea. And then you know what? Give Mark Buckingham royalties or something. Give him more money, please. Give Mark Buckingham
Right,
money.
right, right.
Every week
You know,
we just talk about Mark Buckingham and give him more money, please. Thank you. Um,
pros get paid. It's funny
yeah.
that Transformers is in a top 10 because we love Transformers. Every
hmm
month that comes out, we just like stop what we're doing. We read that book.
Because I'm about to ruin.
That's right.
See what I did there?
That's it.
Uh,
That's the kind of situation that you're used to.
Same thing. Wolverine up top. Wolverine's still holding. Yeah, it's a #1. I don't really count that. It's a mini GI Joe. So the GI Joe's 20. So literally
Little lower than what I
10.
want it to be, but it's not. I like GI Joe a lot, but it's not Transformers.
Right. That's
Bug Wars. I'm glad Bug Wars is 22. That's good.
yeah, still
For
in the top 30. But everything else is not necessarily gimmicky, but like they're all really still new. Like that's gonna do well, I guess. That's the Kylo Ren book. But remember, they didn't call it Kylo Ren. They called it Vader.
the
So Vader's
legacy.
gonna right. So I think that's kind of funny. I don't remember what that. I think that's Strange Academy, which just keeps getting another incarnation, just continuing to go.
Listen, Strange Academy was kind of good the whole time. Like that
I
was a
think
good
you're
book
right. Yeah, I think it was just a very, but they had to they had to keep relaunching it because they wanted to just keep it going because they
because they
run
want
out
to
of
make a
sales.
TV show out of it because it's just so TV show-etic. I don't know if they're going
Well,
to, but it's like Marvel Harry Potter. That's
yeah.
literally what it is. It's Marvel Harry Potter.
So wait, all
And
right. So how off is Exceptional X-Men? We think that's on the chopping block only because no one cares, but it's
no,
still
that
in the
one's
top
not on the
30.
chopping block yet. That one's not
We
on the
want it to
chopping
be
block.
because it's so boring.
It's just more of the same.
Yeah, it's boring. Weapon X-Men in the top 30, good. Red Hulk, okay. I
Number one
guess
movie, got it.
JLU should be a lot higher, I think, based on the quality of that book, but it just is. This is number
It's
one bump just because,
it's sad to me that Superman's not in the top 30 because I think that's DC's best
yeah,
comic.
that's right. Yeah, I don't know. I should have grabbed the next one. Maybe next month when they do this, we'll go through it again. You know, we love. I'm sure everyone loves numbers, and they love us staring at other people, other numbers. So,
I know, I know.
um,
Listen, we go all over the place and in deep
go
often.
do it in
You,
deep.
you you think it's a mud puddle, but really it's like a pothole that you're going waist deep in. There was
Listen,
a there was one time it was raining really hard when I was delivering. Like it was like a torrential summer downpour, and I had to get to this house, and I was already soaked to my boots, and I started to just walk through the stream of gutter water, and it like went up to my waist. And my friend's like,
oh
"Boy,
my
how
God,
deep was it?" And I'm like, it was like dick. I said dick deep. It's dick deep.
it's dick deep. Oh my God.
And it broke. Yeah, we have these key fobs we keep on a keychain to like kind of start the truck, so we don't use keys anymore. You prime the truck as you're walking towards it, and then you start it when you get in.
Oh, I
And
see.
and
Right.
then because the water was so deep, and I didn't know it was going to get that deep as I'm walking through it, and uh, and we're only talking 4 feet of water, 3 feet like across. Like that's
Mhm.
not that deep, but the rain just hit so hard. I think it was like 5 inches of rain in like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we've had some
So,
crazy weather, dude, with the wind and all that shit last week was nuts.
yeah, so it broke the electronic key fob,
Oh,
so I had to
awesome.
like find an actual key for it, like hidden in a lock. All the trucks have a lockbox with like an extra key.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So
That's good. All right. So Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, number one of three. They put out a lot. We've already talked about this a few different times. The Steve McNiven's not return technically to Daredevil, but he's drawing his new Barry Windsor Smith. But I almost feel like this is like a Barry Windsor Smith slash Jeff Darrow style. Um, so a bunch of these covers came out this week. So we've already seen this one, number one. There's your Frank Miller cover,
yep,
which
you can't.
what's behind him? Is it a dumpster?
It's a
What
water tower.
it is?
Yep.
I don't know. It's the
Oh,
worst.
yep.
It would have been better if there was nothing. Nothing. And then again, Alex Sinclair only has one color in the palette this week. He only has red in his computer. And I don't know if I want the thunderclap behind him, and I'm thinking it's Dark Knight Returns. I don't know. I don't like these new covers. This is probably the most the easiest, you know. But I mean, you're going back to Daredevil. I don't know. There could be a lot.
Mhm.
Of course, I think so many years when he did the Man Without Fear, I hated the one I think it was on Marvel Age where it's just like him like on a wire, just like him like this. I hate that one too. So I feel like I don't like any modern Daredevil Frank Miller drawing. No thanks. But that's fine.
It's
Alex
fine.
Sinclair getting paid. At least he did a
Yeah,
little more here than the weekend cover there.
true.
Uh,
True.
really good, Lionel Francis Yu here. Really good. That's
Yeah.
excellent. That's a lot going on here, and I really like. I don't think we've ever seen Lionel Francis Yu draw like a super old dude, so that's really fun.
Not really. No.
Old man Murdoch, baby, and Rick Eisenove. Again, number two main cover, great. Um, There's a hidden gem variant, which I was looking for. There's another hidden gem this week, and I was looking for, and I figured that was in, and I'll post this, but you don't like this coloring. There's the original
And so
coloring.
yeah,
It's a lot
I don't
brighter.
don't
A
don't
lot
hate it,
brighter.
but it's like
This is from Marvel Fanfare
yeah,
45.
the original coloring just looks a little better.
Yeah,
It's fine. I get what
it's
they're going for. I don't. It's not bad per se. It's just
it looks like it's not done,
sometimes
you know.
yeah.
But even the original drawing looks like the drawing's not done, and it looks like the original coloring's not that done. Like it's of this pinup issue, you have like ridiculously like superior, like ridiculously complete Marvel. Like I think they made a press poster of this Punisher, you know, which has a bunch of names on it.
Right.
It's got a lot of extra people on there, a lot of drawings. Wool, Morelli. You have a lot of names on here. You have a lot of names on this graffiti, and they made a press post for that. I feel like they made a couple things out of this, but even in this issue, you have this drawing of Storm, and it's like it's not done. It's just a Barry Windsor Smith drawing like laying around. So this is a mixed bag. If you ever see this in Dollar Bin, I would
What number is that?
highly recommend this. 47, 49, 45.
It's totally worth getting, everyone. Just
Yeah,
I love pinup. I love pinup books. We came up in the late 80s, early 90s comics, which is just all about pinups and double page spreads, and it just really gives the artist a chance to
yeah.
show you what he can do.
You got a Namor.
The more,
You got a Namor. Uh, so yeah, we're fine with this, but I mean, the real star here is the McNiven. I really kind of can't wait for this 3 issues. I don't know if it's going to be 40 pages. That's give me some of that. That's I think
yeah,
this month. I feel like it's coming out this month. So
give me
and
some more.
it's been cooking for a while. So hopefully it's complete. McNiven has been late in the past on things, so he should only get special projects. You said even last week, where are these artists that should be? Lionel Francine, we know pretty much only does covers for the most part, but he should really be drawing
Because
something.
he got two Netflix payouts.
Yeah,
He had two properties in the middle of the world. McNiven got a payout because he did Nemesis, so he doesn't really have to. I mean, listen, we like to think that each artist got $1 million, roughly. We
right.
think
We don't know what that
so.
equates to after taxes and all that shit. I mean, we don't know what that means.
True, true. So even if you lose 30% to taxes, you try to do as many write-offs as you can. We're not tax people, so you could walk away with 700,000, which is a lot, but like it's not that much. You could pay off your house,
Mhm.
and then you could just now your income's just going to you, but then you're not writing
Taxes.
stuff off against your house. It's a big. Listen,
Yeah.
these are problems we don't have. I don't have $1 million.
You have a million dollar
Maybe
job?
I do not.
I wish.
Even I mean, I got more than a half a million in stuff. I might have $1 million worth of stuff between my house, the cars, my comics. Maybe I gotta, what I
That's
mean, start
funny.
adding it in.
Right, right, right. That's funny.
$1 million worth of sex working product here. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Wink.
That's right. You'll win an Oscar next year. So yeah, this was a weird week because I know we briefly touched on Gene Hackman dying, and then you told me it was weird circumstances, and I read more and more about it. So now they're thinking that he died or she died first.
She died first
She died first, and then
of a
he
disease she got from like a mouse.
a
Like,
deer mouse. Yes.
that's holy crap. Like I haven't had any mouse in this house, my new house, but like my old house, you catch them every once in a while. But their
So
poop is like the mouse poop. Like I had a bin at my parents' house that when I opened it up, I'm like, there's mouse poop in here. They must have gotten my bin. You know what it was?
right.
I had these little Garbage Pail Kid pins, had a collection of them,
Oh
but they came
no.
with a stick of gum. But it was like not, I just never opened them
Hmm.
because I was collecting all the Garbage Pail Kids at one point, and they got in there and ate all the gum that came with the
Wow.
pins or the little. They had Garbage Pail Kid muscles, like the old muscle toys,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
thankfully they didn't bite on the Garbage Pail Kids, but they ate the gum. I'm like, that's 30-year-old gum, you disgusting rats.
Yeah, and like they maybe probably just went outside and died. You know what I mean? So yeah, so really, really strange, but
So
a
that's what
lot of
she dies from.
stories. Yeah, and then
And
he
then,
has Alzheimer's more than likely.
yes, worse than what we probably thought because he didn't call anyone and say, "Hey, my wife's dead." You know, he didn't make that horrible Will Shatner call. I shouldn't even bring that up. Oh my God, remember that when his wife
Yeah,
drowned?
yeah,
The worst.
that's a
Ugh,
really bad call.
it's a really bad call. You forget about that until something like this
Yeah,
happens, and you're like, "Oh yeah, remember
Ugh.
that?"
And then they had a German Shepherd in a crate that died, which is horrible too. That's horrible.
That's it was in a crate. All right, I was wondering
In
why
a
the other
crate.
two dogs lived. Like we're lucky the other two dogs. Like, did they eat them?
Did they eat them? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like that's kind of you know hidden about what went on. But so roundup this week, that's horrible. A lot of good stories about him. This I didn't know about, and I think you knew about this last week, and I guess I didn't realize this, but and we talked about this in a previous episode where why aren't they just doing these specials like one shots or Marvel
Yeah,
Premiere or
we all love the
they should
Werewolf by
have a
Night special, and we
Marvel
love the
Premiere,
Guardians Christmas special.
right?
Yeah,
How much could this be? 2 million, 3 million? Like just do this. So this is kind of fun. Now, when I saw this, I was thinking, I was like, this could also be as good slash bad as like Dirty Laundry, which was like the short film that Tom Jane made
Tom
in
Jane
like a
did.
laundromat in like Florida.
I like
Like
that.
it's it's pretty good, but it's like kind of barely a Punisher thing because he couldn't really say it was Punisher. But
I
this I
like
guess
because
officially is Punisher, and he's co-writing it with. I didn't watch this show. This guy did a show with him called We Own This City on HBO. It seemed like it had all the elements I should have watched it, and I just didn't watch it at all. I don't know if it was any good. I think it was only like 6 episodes too. It was kind of short.
BJ
Didn't
Novak
watch it.
did an anthology series, and one of the episodes was him. Oh my God, it's so I forget the name of the anthology series, but it's, BJ Novak from The Office.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
He did an anthology series, and there was an episode where he's like, I think his kid gets killed, gets shot, and then he
Mm,
goes and works for like an NRA style company, and that's all I'm saying. Like after his kid gets shot, and that's
mm.
all I'm saying. I can't remember the name of the show.
You're talking about Bernthal. Bernthal.
Bernthal,
Yeah.
yeah. It's almost like a Punisher type of story idea where your kid gets killed and then he goes and works for the NRA type of
Hmm.
deal. So it's a really good episode. Like I said, it's an anthology series, but the Bernthal episode is fantastic. I
Yeah.
don't want to say anything else because it's a good story. It's a good tense episode, you know?
I've only watched the first 20 minutes of the Born Again because I'm had a busy weekend, and but you really liked you saw the first 2 episodes?
Yeah, I watched the first two episodes. Um, it's a little disjointed because they did so much refilming, but it doesn't matter because the stuff they give you is really good, you know?
It
And
it seemed very like what was kind of funny about it. It seemed like it was like a reunion show almost. Like they're all kind of hanging out, and it's like, "Oh, you remember us? Like we're doing this." Like I feel like it was very meta in the first couple scenes where
yes.
they went to Josie's bar and like they did very specific thing. I was waiting for Frank Miller to just be in there. You know what I mean? Like he should just be in Josie's
Yeah,
bar.
yeah, right.
But he's created Josie's bar, and
They have a cameo.
do they?
Yeah.
Who's in it? You can spoil it. It's already
All
out.
right. Jrjr. He's like a New York dude that
Oh,
they
is he
talk
really?
to like a man on the street type of thing.
Oh, wow, I gotta see that. That was in the first episode?
I believe so.
I don't know. I was kind of watching it, but I was doing a bunch, we do a ton of things. I got
Yeah.
ADD. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So there's no announcement for this. It's they don't say how long it's going to be. I imagine an hour, hour and a half, but that's cool.
You know, I would have,
Let's do that.
it'd be nice if we got it in October because I think after Fantastic Four, there's like a Marvel lull,
Hmm.
and we have Wonder Man in. Like, I would like to get this year. I don't know if they can have that kind of turnaround. They
Wonder
should.
Man's December or something,
The
right?
Wonder Man's December. Nobody's excited about it. I love Wonder Man. I'm curious to see this guy act Wonder Man because he's so. I'm not really that familiar with the actor. Obviously, from Aquaman, he plays Black Manta, and that guy's just a mean,
He's Dr.
sullen. Like
Manhattan on the Watchmen TV show.
that's right.
Sorry. Yeah, and he's in Candyman. He's in the Candyman remake, which I think the
I didn't
trailer
see
looked real
that.
good, but I haven't seen that. It's on something. It's on Amazon, I think, right now. I haven't watched it though. So
No, Tony Todd doesn't. Isn't Tony Todd in that?
yes, yeah, yeah.
R.I.P.
Rest in
Rest in
peace.
peace, Tony Todd. We
Rest in
loved him.
peace. Yeah, we're big Tony Todd fans. From The Crow, from Candyman One. Candyman One is still Candyman One. Candyman is still one of I think is really frightening. Is really really frightening, and I go back to it from time to time, and I think that and I think Child's Play is pretty underrated the first Child's Play I think is actually really scary. I think the first Child's Play,
Yeah,
that Child's Play remake really like went flat with that Aubrey Plaza. That was pretty good though. That was all right. I thought it was all right. So
I
here
didn't see the remake.
comes another mini that we know we don't really care about, but a little bit more details came out because again,
Yeah, but
Marvel does a bad job with the press releases. Then they do like a second press release, which that last was about basically more art had lined up. To the main cover,
I,
like the person who's drawing this is actually a really good artist, but has no cover, no
it's
variant.
listen. It's a good artist. It's a good writer. We like Greg Pak.
Yeah.
You know, Silver Surfer is really interesting. If you're a hardcore Silver Surfer collector, there's been so many different one shots and great writers, and just I mean, there's garbage too, but like,
Mhm.
but there's never like
Yeah,
I
for the
don't know.
most part, it's almost like Green Arrow. Green Arrow is always kind of goes through like lulls, but even the lulls are still pretty good. Even
Yeah.
the regular Daredevil series, well, up until
Did you
recently.
did you ever sit down and read the entire? You read all the Dan Slott, all read Silver Surfer, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
I actually have
The omnibus.
the Mobius strip one. No, I saw the omnibus kind of cheap somewhere, but it wasn't cheap enough. So But I have the Mobius strip issue, which is like the one that you can read and you turn upside down, and you can read it
It's a great
twice.
issue. Love it.
Yeah, that's really fun. But we talked about this a little bit earlier. We were talking. This is a Quesada inking himself,
Yeah.
but this is to me. This doesn't look like Quesada. It doesn't look like. It looks like John Paul Leon
Yeah, the Galactus like doesn't
Galactus.
feel Casada. Silver Surfer, you can see the Casada there, but like the inking, the shadowing just doesn't look, and it's a weird. It doesn't look Casada enough to us, but like it's pure Casada.
Mhm. Yeah,
But I think
it's
what
fine.
we have the nostalgia for is the Casada Palmiotti mix. There's something about that
Right.
mix, or like even when Kevin Nolan inked them, it still looked more like that style. Was
I think
Kevin
he
did it,
was
Kevin?
right. Kevin Nolan did sort of Azrael. Mhm.
Right. There was like it's the edges. Joe Quesada is hardcore. His best comic work is like edgy in the literal sense. And this isn't, where's the edge? Everything's rounded. I mean, it's proper. It's probably technically a better drawing.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure it
comics,
is, but I
but
don't want it
comics
to be.
isn't about, sometimes not about better art. And art is
Nah,
like, I'm
this
so
is
much better than I used to be. Yeah, but what you did weird was what we liked.
right, right.
What you did wrong was your style that made you
I just
popular.
got there's a couple Casada like rare things that I don't know if he was in studio, but there's a question quarterly I got 2 weeks ago that has him on layouts and has like a couple people drawing it, but it doesn't really say who does what, but he did like layouts in it, and they're very Casada. It's a question story. It's a question quarterly, so it's a complete 40 page story. That's really cool. I like his Batman Legends of the Dark Knight annual he did, where he did
Oh
like a
yeah.
handful of pages. That's like really fun.
Hmm.
Did he laid out Crucible? Or no, he did Crucible covers. Is that right? Or he might have did layouts for Crucible too. He did the Ray, that Ray miniseries with Art Nichols. Great. So we're just, yeah, we're nostalgic for old. And they also put out, talking about Casada, like that X-Men Manowar, which I bought again last week. It was because it was a really good copy of it. I already have it. I have it framed downstairs. I have with the chromium cover, but um, Valiant didn't put out, or Titan or whatever they're called now, Alien Books. Alien Books didn't. They put out an X-Men War Zero replica or whatever you call it, edition. What do they call it? Facsimile edition. Facsimile
Right.
edition. But no chromium on the cover. Uh, but haven't seen it digitally either because I want to see if they touched it up or I want to see if it's different. I like
What the
versions.
the Exo Manowar omnibus that they put out?
Exo Man of War Zero, they put out an individual facsimile edition a couple weeks back,
Okay. I
and I
think I
haven't
did
seen
see
it.
that.
It's not in stores. I mean, again, no, it's so niche. I should have special ordered from someone. I gotta get an LCS. Like I gotta get like with certain things. Like I'm a little mad I didn't start that New Gods variant cover thingy that's going on because that's very specific. You know what I grabbed a week or two ago? Speaking of that, I grabbed Origin 2 number one, which Origin 2
Okay.
number one has a really cool acetate. Like it's like a cover with an image of the claw, and then you open it up, and there's more stuff behind it, like kind of like the Wizard Ace editions we talked about previously.
Right.
So really cool. This we're saying it's saying foil variant. What does that mean? This is
Yeah.
colored.
If it's
Um,
puffy the way the original one was,
yeah,
everyone would be down for that. Silver Surfer 50 is like one of the first gimmick covers on a regular
yeah.
basis that like it's gorgeous. And they did a second print of it. And then 75 had a foil puffy, and then 100 had a foil cover that was flat. Like they just kept
100
going with
was a hologram, I think, or 125 was like a hologram.
yeah, yeah. One
It was
of
a
them.
Gary Frank hologram. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Here's a hidden gem variant. So this is why we talked about. I thought this was when we talked about this earlier. I thought this was in this Marvel fanfare, but it's not. It's in, and I tried to hunt for it on one of our bathroom pauses because we're old. But it's not in here. It's in an annual. But when I tried to find it, I found it on Grand Comics database. John Romita Jr. Silver Surfer found it. It's in Silver Surfer Annual 4, which is 1991. Not too far off. This was 89. Not too far off, but the coloring's better, which I'll put the coloring in there because you said that, like, is this pickup art? When you asked me, you're like, what is this from? And I said, well, the only time he's ever properly drawn Silver Surfer, he did it twice. He did it in not in a Silver Surfer book, by the way. He did it in Last Days of Fantastic Four,
Right.
which was a one shot, which was a Kirby unused story that Stan Lee scripted, which he probably didn't script.
Right.
Um, and maybe it was Akira Yoshida scripting. Who knows? No, I don't think it would be around that time. But anyway,
Oh,
maybe might have been right around the time. So it was like 2000ish. But there is a Jrjr Silver Surfer like sitting like flat, like meh. I'm like, it's not that great. I don't love that drawing too much. But so this is a cool action one, but he's also in a Daredevil issue at the end of Inferno, like one of the crossovers, and it has him like kind
okay.
of flying in. But he's so big on the page, it's hard to even reference because he's fighting Mephisto, and that's Jrjr Mephisto. We should see if we can get Jrjr. Well, let's see if we can get creator interviews and ask him like one question. Be like, hey, why'd you draw Mephisto like that? And then just be like, okay, thank you, and then just that's it, one question. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
One
Like
question.
one question, and then let them talk, and then say, okay, nice to meet you, bye bye, and then just like go off. Like I want to talk to Phil Winslade about that Big Guns poster. I'm like, what's going on here? What art did you get? What did you know? What's happening with this team? Who's that character? Like,
That
why
sounds
did you
like
make
a
this
question
choice?
we should send them and say, hey, we're going to ask this question.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Here's pictures of the poster. Here's what we think. What do you remember?
right,
Because that
right.
poster was 35 years ago, and he was like, probably, what?
He's right. Like I have no idea what you're talking
I've
about.
drawn a
Yeah.
thousand covers since then, and Earth here, I've drawn multiple thousands of pages.
Yeah, it is funny. Like, and yeah. So this is the alt. This is the like face, face forward. So, but I
Face
guess it's
forward,
better than
face
than
front, true
face
believers.
front. But so I'll put the regular coloring in there too, like the initial coloring, which is better. But on the Marvel app, and when I told you about it, it's like, yeah, of course. I looked that up. It was Silver Surfer Annual number 4, and
Yep.
I look it up, and it's crossover with Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, oh, I remember this. It's a Ron Lim issue. I remember having this. I'm
Mm.
looking through it. It's 30 pages on the app, and I'm like, well, that's weird.
Eee.
And then
Yikes.
I realized that when I just looked through it on my archive, I looked at it there, and it scans, and they cut out 2 stories and like 7 pinups. Like it's like
Gross.
whoa, so that's no
Gross.
good. That's no good. So
No me gusta. No me gusta un
yeah,
poco.
no Magusta. So here's some extra pictures of the McFarlane toy stuff. We talked about this a little bit last week, but I don't remember that. Dr. Fate, pretty cool. Also
Yeah.
that DC 1 million, pretty cool. And there's better pictures of the weird manga looking ones, but I like
Oh,
that
I don't
that
see the
DC
DC. Is
one
that at the
million.
bottom? It's cut off on my screen.
Yeah, the DC 1 million Batman.
Superman. Oh,
The
Batman.
Superman's the Silver
Oh
Surfer.
yeah, 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 yeah. My bad.
That's the Jose Garcia Lopez,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
which is pretty great. So,
I'd met Rags Morales once, and I got him to do me a sketch of a DC 1 million Superman.
oh,
That was, by
nice.
the way, my you know me, hardcore Superman. So anything you can ever add to that, I want. So reading DC Superman 1 million has so many cool things in the issues. Remember, each issue of Superman, every issue of DC 1 million. The DC 1 million was a 4 issue miniseries, but every comic at DC that month was DC 1 million. But
Yeah, yeah.
prior to DC, but the Superman comics each had a Gene Ha cover, and it was such a good story because it was like kind
Oh,
of
right.
telling you about Superman from 1 million and like his backstory, and the DC 1 million 80 page giant is like incredible. But I don't know. I just got to think. I love. And here's something funny about Superman. Remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about Philip Kennedy Johnson's. They like were soliciting a Superman book and then they like took it away.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
Okay, well what that is an 8 issue maxi series called Superman House of L, and it delves into every plot point that he didn't get a chance to finish in his Superman story is finished in this. Now his Superman story
Oh,
ended
okay.
very naturally, but like he had more stuff to tell, and
Hmm.
he reread the omnibus when it came out. He's like, "Yep, got to touch on that. Got to touch on
Oh, where'd
that."
you
So
get that? Was it an interview or something?
yeah, he was in an interview on Word Balloon this week.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that's cool. I'm excited. 8 issue miniseries. I love all the. I've always been a fan of anything Superman, and that's a Superman from the future. And there's a line of Superman. There's a legacy, and there's like other story. Like he puts on things stuff in the background. He's like, oh, I gotta explain that later, but then he doesn't explain it later. So in this, he gets a chance to explain stuff that was in the
Hmm.
background, other characters, stories.
Yeah, I'd like to read that in a sitting or two. Like that omnibus is pretty attractive. Because it was in a lot of different books. Like, it was a lot of specials, annuals. Like it was all over the place. So this I know puts it in order. I picked up
Yes.
the Future State Superman for less than $1 recently. Where that's the Miguel Janin, which is weird when you look through it because it's like 20 pages. You know what I mean? Like it was like a $7-8 book because they just kind of threw out all that Future State stuff
Yeah.
just to get it out. Just to get it out. So
'Cause half future state, half new stuff, half uh,
Stuff lying around.
G5, right? Are they gonna call that? It was like G5
Yeah, I
or
think it was
something.
G5. Yeah. So
Look,
there's just stuff lying around.
bad. There was a lot of bad ideas. Every time I hear an idea out of that, I'm like, thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah, and that basically did in Didio. Did in Didio.
Yeah,
Did in
don't
Didio. You're fired.
don't don't cook the golden goose. Don't make all your superheroes who they're making movies of no longer the superheroes, and it's the next generation. It doesn't work. It doesn't
No.
work. It works rarely. The only time it's ever worked is the transition from Barry Allen to Wally West. That is the only generational
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
superhero that
Right.
worked. And
But
people
I
still
think
don't,
that's new readers. But I think that's because new readers started in '85. Like a
yeah,
bunch of us.
post crisis, yeah.
Yeah.
We got in post crisis, and that was the Flash. And everyone, and he grew up and he became the hero he's meant to be. Like that Flash book, all the what's a bar, and then it goes to William Messner Loeb's, like all that Flash run's
Yeah.
really good. The Greg LaRock stuff's beautiful.
Mm.
Greg
And then
LaRock also nice guy.
Jackson Goyce and then Greg LaRock. I think that's right.
Yes, yeah.
Jackson Juice Goyce Butch, whatever his name is
And
this
and
week.
Greg LaRock, he stepped up as he continued on the book. Like issue 50, he gets the new costume. Flash gets a bump because the TV show's on at that same time, so the
Yeah, the
Flash comics are
costume
selling
was
a little better.
closer to the TV costume. I remember that Flash 50. That was good, man. That was
It
80,
was,
90 maybe, 91, 90. But yeah, I
yeah,
remember
definitely.
that 50. I collected that through and then it turned into Wade, so that's
Yeah, and
fun.
then Wade took over, and you're like, holy crap, this guy.
Yeah.
And
And
then
Wade,
we get Ringo in Wade's
right.
run.
And then the
But Greg
Morrison.
LaRock, I should send you. I got some scans. I have the book still. He tried to do his own independent comic called The Exiled, and his artwork was just so killer on it. I'm like, this looks so good. He goes,
Hmm,
yeah, because at DC we weren't allowed to draw details because any detail you put in the artwork was lost. Like the printing
the
sucked.
printing, yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's
I always think that when I look at like Wonder Woman issues, I feel like the black inks never held on the page right. Like it was like the coloring was like overshadowing like some of the so I always thought they looked like crap.
huh.
Like I remember having like a Wonder Woman #1 that I got it in like a Toys R Us like 3-pack or something like that. And the cover looks amazing. It's George Perez inks on cover. And
Yeah,
I think someone inked him inside, but like I was like, is this I can't see anything. Like it was real didn't hold on the page. You're right. He's right. So
yeah,
got better. Got better.
got better.
So
So
here's Hero.
Hero.
Who is
Now
this?
here,
Can you explain this?
Hero
I know
is
you would be able to explain this.
yes. So back in the 80s, we got the original He-Man show, and then that transitioned to the She-Ra show, and then it transitioned to the new Adventure He-Man, which nobody watched. I don't watch She-Ra either. Even He-Man, I kind of got out of. But this was going to
Yeah.
be the next wave of He-Man toys. They had two things going, and Hero, it was called The Powers of Grayskull, and it was actually going to be a prequel story where it was going to be all the things. Like there was Keldor instead of like we didn't know he was going to be Skeletor yet. That was where they had this
Right.
line, and
Right.
Hero was
Right.
going to be the He-Man of that era, which they've since retroed that out. Now it's like they have this guy named King Grayskull, who's just an incredibly awesome character, and Hero was like, see, it's the most powerful wizard in the universe. He wasn't originally a hero. He wasn't originally a wizard, but they also thought about making Hero He-Man's son. They were going to do that storyline
Oh,
too,
right.
like
Right.
the
Right.
son
Right.
of He-Man and Tila. They didn't know what they were doing, so nothing happened,
Right. Right.
and that's where this. But they had all these designs for characters, so they've gone back and made toys that look like the toys that would have come out had they had the storyline continued.
Because this did they do
And
a prototype of this maybe? I feel like I saw a prototype of this
they've
before.
made this character before. He's in the
Oh, I
classics
see.
line.
Okay.
He's been made. This is just. I think this might be a return to. I don't know if this is. I'm looking at it. I'm like, it looks kind of classic 80s,
Yeah,
but like
I think this
not
is
sure
the
if it
Master of the
is.
Universe like Collectors Club. I think this is the Mattel Matty Collector. Like I think
Right.
this is exclusive.
I was I was a member of that for the first year or two because I really would like they would give an exclusive figure every year. And the first year was Wondar, which is like the Wonder Bread He-Man exclusive.
Oh,
He came
right,
with
right,
like
right.
brown hair. But like what happened
Conan.
was, yes. But what happened was like the first year I got the first 12, 13, and then I might have got the second year. I'm like, what am I doing? Like in 5 years I'll have like 70 boxes and they were big boxes. Like where am I going to put 70
Right.
He-Man toys? Like I loved them. The toys were great looking, Mark.
Yeah.
But I'm like, do I want all of these? I kind of do. But then what do I need a He-Man room? Like I
Mm.
already have bo boxes of comics and Transformers and statues and toys. I'm like, I can't be that guy. I can't be, that person that just has so much stuff you don't appreciate it. So that's when I kind of started to curate my collection down to like I still have a classic figure or two, but they're like my favorites.
Mm.
So I just like Transformers, I went from collecting everything to just Optimus Primes to
Right.
just my favorite Optimus Prime. Like,
Right, right, right.
and
Yeah, it's
to
weird. It's
each
weird what
their
you go
own.
through.
Some people collect them all and it's great. They're great toys. I admire people who collect all that stuff. But like for me, with the daughters, with the houses and all that jazz, I'm like, less is more. If someone comes to my house, they'll be like, "Oh, look, here's a cool Miracle Man statue by Randy Bowen. Here's a Castle Grayskull Hallmark uh, ornament that looks incredible. Here's a Turtles toy from the movie. Like it's all like one. It's my example of what I love,
Right, right, right.
and that's kind of what I've gone for.
Yeah, I mean, it's we should do we could do an office tour. I mean, we did it a little earlier, basically with some of my stuff. But yeah, because you always kind of pull stuff out. You're like, I got this. I'm like, I didn't know you had that, because
I like having random weird stuff.
yeah, come here.
So
But yeah, the art on all these are really good, and they put out recently. I think Dark Horse has been putting out all these books, the art of, and all that. And they put out, I think, the Art of Revelation just came out, which was the art of the Revelation toy. So I imagine anything here, I think, is kind of cool because it was always kind of founded on that art. That art, the fantasy art, was just really great.
yeah, they got
Um,
they got traditional painters like Earl Norham and Saunders and stuff to do these He-Man paintings.
It's very textured. The cape's pretty textured, and this almost looks like it's some type of gimmick where you can see through this, but I don't know if it has anything like that. So,
Yeah.
I saw these cartoon collections, and it's cool. They have the filmation coloring through this cartoon there. They may not be able to actually use. They might not be able to use that logo, filmation, but here it evokes that in my brain.
Yes. Yes, it does.
But these are a little different than the toys. So I saw the Skeletor one. The Skeletor one is colored a little bit closer to the cell animation, and it's a different mold. And this Hordak, the Hordak design it was always confusing to me because I would like kind of turn Jrjr would be on the same hour. Was the He-Man Jrjr hour? Is that right? Power
They
hour?
they did. They did for a minute. They didn't really, but the He-Mans were reruns. They stopped producing He-Man to produce She-Ra.
Yeah,
Filmation could only do one cartoon at a time
right. They didn't have
because
money.
they didn't have money. It was like friends and family. Sometimes it was Beverly D'Angelo, the actress. She would go and draw stuff for them because she was somehow related to him.
Wow.
Yeah, is that funny?
Trying to put my cat's decided to stay over here, even though he's got a bed over here, and he's almost knocking my water over. Um, Yeah, and the Brave Star, by the way, I was going to send it to you. Secret Galaxy did the history of Brave Star and the death of Filmation this week. It's like a 22-minute documentary that he did. So a whole review. So you got to check that out. That's really good. So yeah, the cartoon collections are really good. But again, like you said, like what do we collect? Like what are we doing? Like you know what I mean? Especially with some of the cover stuff that's coming out that the McFarlane's doing. I'm just like, am I really doing another collection? Yes, if it's like undeniable, like I can't deny that Thor one, right? I want
Yeah.
to I want that Liefeld I wanted that Liefeld Deadpool. So that's okay, 1, 2. I want the Jrjr Iron Man when that comes out. That might just and we'll see. And then I got to figure out like where I'm going to put them, you know. It's tough, man. But luckily and unluckily, I have an office that's like 20 by 30, so that's not good, not great, not wonderful, because I can just kind of put shelves up or decide, oh, that's going to be this now.
It's funny. You say McFarlane reminds me of this thing, which reminds me of another thing. Man, we go off on tangents on the show. During the last Youngblood run from like 7 years ago, like the numbering of Youngblood, even though it was like volume five, number, 789, the 789 would have been like equivalent to Youngblood 85, 86, 87.
Mm.
I'm like, oh man. And I forgot like to bring this up. I'm like, it'd be great if Liefeld did homage covers for Youngblood to the New Mutants covers that he did.
Right,
That
right.
would have been neat. Like, and then he could still do it.
87, right,
Yeah, like
87, 88, right.
right. The legacy numbering of Youngblood would have matched up with when Liefeld got onto New Mutants. But it kind of passed it, so he really can't do it now. But like McFarlane asked Liefeld, say, hey, let's do Spawn covers where we redo our New Mutants covers. Like
Hmm.
you pencil it and I'll ink it. And Liefeld like he turned him down, but like he should make a deal. Like, yeah, let's do it for Spawn, and we'll do it for Youngblood.
Right, right. Yeah, but wasn't there a recent thing where he didn't like the way it was inked? He didn't like the way that
Yes.
McFarlane.
Whenever McFarlane inked his covers, Liefeld would go back and like white stuff out and fix it. Because he says that the McFarlane just went too far away on the faces. He said, "Oh, they look a little like droopy," you know. I'm like, "Well,
I
yeah,
could
that's
see that.
McFarlane.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that without even
I
saying
guess
it."
so. Right, right.
So Liefeld wanted, he was promoting himself. Like Liefeld was trying to break into the business, so he wanted to put his style out there, and mixing it with McFarlane on the covers really worked. So yeah, he would correct things that
Yeah,
he
it's
thought
funny.
McFarlane went too far on.
The article I read, it's so catty. They try to make a big thing. It was just probably a
It's
sentence or two in his podcast, right?
it's
But
not. Yeah,
they made a whole article about it, and then
they do.
the article was like, but Scott Williams, he had no problem with, and it's like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
because
Like, so
it's
what? You know, like Scott Williams is not a penciler. You know what I mean? He's not like a penciler inker. He's an inker
yeah, he wasn't.
mainly.
Yeah, he was an
Uh,
inker. He can pencil, and he's a good penciler. But
yeah,
like he was the best inker. He was the inker everyone wanted. Like if you couldn't get
correct.
Terry Alston, then you got Scott Williams. That's literally why Jim Lee kept him because he had a Alston style line. He was
Hmm.
the '90s
Yeah,
equivalent of Terry Alston.
yeah, yep.
Which, by the way, that cover that he inked over Liefeld got stolen.
Oh, that's right. I think you told me that. Yeah, it's funny
Boo.
the way the world works now. Like you figure it would probably show up for sale or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's a we'll see. So this is the most unshocking news that Keanu Reeves he probably was getting something going event like at some point and then created a comic book and now the comic book's going to be a TV show but the comic book clearly was Keanu Reeves. What I didn't know and I think this is kind of crazy and I'm happy that I went to Ron Garney but like I didn't know this. It said Berserker the comic series was created and written by Keanu Reeves and Matt Kent
Right?
originally to be drawn by Alessandro Vitti, who has a really thin, flat, kind of boring style. Alessandro works a lot with
Didn't he
Cullen
do?
Bunn.
Didn't he do Brath for CrossGen?
I don't
Brath,
know.
Brath.
It's
You should know
probably
this,
that's
Mark,
probably correct.
because Brath is their Conan style character.
Well, it
Do
wasn't
you remember that?
not really. No,
All right,
I think you're
write
right.
a
You
note.
are right. Yeah, yeah. I should because I like all Conan characters or
Yeah,
Conan
you're a big Conan
takeoffs,
archetype.
right?
Yeah,
Well, actually, what's funny is that I'm literally looking at what I'm reading now is that I didn't know this, but I was looking through something. But do you know that when Ron Garney did the reboot with with Jerry Duggan, he did Savage Sword of Conan. He did the first storyline.
yeah, it's really good.
They put out a black and white version of that, and I was like I didn't know that, so literally was looking at that yesterday. So
Who who wrote the Scar Stun of Hulk? Because Ron Garney, when he did that, that was like, because that's
it
Conan
was Greg
Hulk,
Pak. Yeah, it
the
was
Great
Greg Pak.
Pack.
Hmm.
That was so good. Do you have that right?
Oh yeah, I have that,
Oh
and then
yeah,
I have the trade too, because the trade or there's something in the trade that I think there one or two covers extra in the trade that is not that are the variant covers. The variant covers are in the trade, but and then Jackson Butch Geist did like flashbacks inside of that, so it was pretty monthly. Like that was monthly, but like yeah, I really like Garney's style on that. That's Garney. I like all of Garney's style. That was a tough. It was tough over there because I had a Silver Surfer uh, Garney Silver Surfer like pinup to put in, and I don't know how I'm going to rotate that bulletin board over there, but I'm happy. But it's great that Ron Garney got this because I know out of the copies that it sold so many copies. Number one, there was a lot of exclusives, and But did you read that Mattson Tomlin Batman book from a couple of years ago? Like came out right after the Batman. It's a pretty good mini. It was a black label,
yes, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
solid. Yeah, pretty solid. So. But I feel like Mattson Tomlin like wrote the Batman, but I feel like doesn't get credit for it because so much of it was changed. So it's kind of funny that
What?
they.
I thought Chris Wozniak wrote that.
Oh, that's right. And Chris Wozniak had a Batman storyline, which is similar to
Not
every
published.
Batman storyline. I know, but it was,
Yeah.
but it's not that far away from anything. Like it's whatever.
Listen, I'm not trying
Uh,
to mock him. Because if you feel slighted, that happens. It sucks. I would bang my head against the wall every time. For me, it was Grant Morrison and Kirkman, and sometimes Miller would just like they do something like, damn it, one more idea, I got to scratch off my ideas. It was like Grant Morrison for a while was just like one idea after the other was like something I had already written. I'm like, damn it. I can't blame him because my shit sits here unpublished in notebooks,
right,
But it was like it really gets aggravating. But here's someone who actually, you know what I mean? Like put something
right.
out there.
Put a treatment.
Yeah,
Did
put a
he hand a
treatment out.
treatment in? Is that what it was? He put a
Yeah,
treatment. They put a treatment in.
I think so.
Well, it's
That's why
tricky,
he's
man.
suspicious.
Yeah.
Listen,
Don't be suspicious. Don't be
in today's
suspicious.
world, and here's a little inside info. I pitched Supreme. I pitched a couple things to Liefeld over the years. He always likes it, but like something always happens to get in the way. And the last time I pitched, when he got Youngblood back, I'm like, oh, now's my chance. He's like, Rob, I can't read this anymore. Like I can't read it because
Right.
if he
They might take
uses
it.
something from my idea accidentally, then
Hmm.
I can sue him. And
Right.
that's not, and I would write something off like, no, this is an idea. Like,
But
I get it.
yeah,
I understand it. In today's
it's a
world,
logical idea. Right.
yes.
Right.
Yeah, because sometimes the idea is very evergreen to that. Like, everyone has the same idea at some point. Everyone at one point says, oh, what if I did a story where Superman took over the Earth? Guess what? Every writer has that same idea. It's just
Right.
how you do it differently. You know,
Superman abuses power. Okay, I got it. Right. You know
I
what I
got
mean?
it.
Like yeah. Superman wipes
And
out
you know,
less
it's
people
funny.
with his eyes.
And I give that example because when I wrote a story like that in the 90s, I thought I was so original.
Hmm.
I'm still using it, but I'm using it in a totally different way.
Yeah.
One of my Superman archetypes does that, but it's different. It's got to be different. It is not injustice or whatever. Whatever. Back on point. Berserker.
Yeah,
So
I only ever read like the first two issues of this thing. I could never really get to it. It never grabbed me enough that I wanted to because I liked. And then I think when they had, I think it's only 10 issues. I want to say that the main story is like 10 issues, but then recently there's been a couple one shots. Steve Scroce did a one shot that was really good,
really nice looking. I love
and
Steve
then
Scrooge.
Salvador LaRocca did one recently that was really good too. And I'm like, geez. So it's weird, like the things that are like extra. And then I know that Boom really likes. They put out different versions of it. I want to say they even have Berserker black and whites printed of just art, and because they did a second version of this of the Salvador LaRocca one, I think. So it's like you know good, So it's interesting. It's going to Netflix, but I don't. Again, is that Netflix movie out yet? The Russo brothers one. It's supposed to be hot garbage. Do you know about that? The whatever that's called the Chris Pratt Millie Bobby Brown movie. Supposed
Oh,
to
I
be
heard. Yeah, I did hear that.
bad. So
Is
I'm
it?
like, yeah, it's supposed to be rough.
I hope
I think it's so crazy.
they're not a
These
couple, are they?
companies.
Is he playing her dad? I hope he's playing her dad.
I think he's just playing like yeah, I don't think so. I think he's playing like he has a weird haircut. Like it didn't even look like him at first. He has almost like a He-Man haircut. He has like a weird like mullet. I don't know. I
Wait a minute.
didn't like the trailer for it. So,
You ready? You ready for this, Mark? I'm going to do this with my background.
oh, there you go.
There you go.
Uh, oh, well, that's what
If I had
they
the
had.
blonde flowing hair, it'd be
Yeah,
better.
they had a Prince Adam, and they had a Prince Adam like kind of laughing, but it wasn't the right face in the cartoon. I looked at it yesterday at Target.
Yeah,
It was the cartoon. It was a He-Man cartoon collection, and then they had the head back laughing, and I was
that
like,
back.
oh man, that's
The actor did that. You see, like he's in the Prince Adam costume, and he's like standing there and putting his head back laughing. So I don't know if they put that in a movie or he was just doing it for a joke.
oh, that's so
Dude,
crazy.
I'm legit excited about the He-Man movie. Like,
I will see. I'm very
I
nervous
know.
about it.
Listen, it does start off on Earth. So at least it's not like they don't go to Earth and spend the whole time there. I think they find him on Earth and then bring him back to Eternity and then listen, that's the formula to get kids in. Listen, that is the formula to get kids into something. You take someone and make them the hero. Put them on the hero's journey.
The hero,
That's right. The hero.
hero.
You're right. The
This
He-Man
guy.
hero journey. That's
How
right.
cheesy that is. Look at that big head. He looks like Robert Zazar in Samurai Cop. He's the villain, and he's got the big chin. It's Robert
That's right.
Zazar.
It's Robbie Rotten. Remember Robbie Rotten from did you have to watch that? Sleepy Town or Lazy Town?
Oh God.
It
Oh
was like
yeah,
this
it was
little
on. It
girl.
was. I was working at. But that was on when I was working at Toys R Us, and one of the commercial loops we had like a TV and in the R was it the R zone? Yeah, the R zone is what that was what all the electronics were. That was
Uh-huh.
the R zone, and we had to have security tags on everything, and because people would like come in and they would break open we'd have the case, we'd have all our iPods and stuff, and man, we shit would get stolen all the time.
Uh,
R zone, baby, R
I had
zone.
to go through that show twice because one, my older stepdaughter was into it when she was a
It's a
kid.
tough show, man.
And then my daughter's got, no, it's so creepy because the puppets are all weird. It feels like it's like Bjork directed it sometimes.
It's
It's so,
French, I think. It's either French or French Canadian.
or
Yeah.
Icelandic, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
But like the characters kind of stick with you, and they like Robbie Rotten had the big face. Sadly, the guy died of cancer. Not to bring the show down. Um, but the other
Wow.
guy was like Sporticus, and his answer to everything, she's like, the little girl would be like, "Oh, what are we gonna do, Sporticus?" He's like, "I don't know," and he just starts doing push-ups and flips, like just out of nowhere. His answer to everything was just like drop and give him 10. But he's still that dude's still in good shape. Like I seen a thing on him, like Sporticus still in shape and doing whatever.
Sporticus.
Dude, that's a good name. Like he's Spartacus, but he loves sports. He has a
Sporticus.
cheesy mustache.
That's pretty rough. That's
It
pretty
is
rough.
pretty rough. So
Let me get
that's
this.
Lazy Town, everyone.
Here, can get that. Lazy Town, everybody. Um, here's a. I guess this is coming out. Archie meets Jan Silent Bob. I do like that. I think that the cover is pretty cool because again, that's the Clerks logo. You know what I mean? Like
And
you're doing stuff.
they're all dressed like the clerks
Yeah, that's the Clerks. That's what's funny is
poster.
I always hated the Clerks poster because the Clerks poster has the line of people and then just has like Kevin Smith as Kevin Smith in the background for making a smirk just like that.
Yeah.
Like so, it's a very dumb poster. Actually, I want to say that my dad might still have that poster because I when I was at Rutgers Camden for this thing that for it was a Chasing Amy viewing. It was early in his career of him going to college campuses and stuff, and he was doing a Q&A afterwards. But the before the Q&A, as he was showing it, I got in with press because I worked for this one guy who had like basically paid like an AM radio station to have a I was a writer on his like news show. Then I ended up just becoming the host in like 2 weeks because the one guy didn't show up. And I just like hosted it. And then I was allowed to go behind the scenes. I was press. And it
Because
was
I'm hosting.
but he had a bunch of stuff. He had a bunch of giveaway stuff. He was handing stuff out, but none of the press people cared. They asked him like three questions, they left, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, can I just sit here and talk to him? And he had a Watchman button on, and I said, oh, is that like the original like 1986 Watchman button, like from like the thing? He says, yeah, it was 87. He corrected me, and then
Ah,
we
you
started
moron.
talking. Now I knew I was going to meet him, so I had the Superman Live script that he wrote.
Right.
I had it printed. I think I either printed it out at college or something. I think I printed it out when I was at Camden County College, right? So funny. So I had it's a legal script, and he wrote on it. And I have it. It's got to be somewhere at my dad's house. I don't know. I know I didn't throw it out, but I don't know where it is. I don't know if it ever survived the moves. It's got to be still be there at 86 Wagner. But he wrote, "This is so illegal, Kevin Smith," and then VHS
No, he
copies of
wrote, can I correct you?
yeah.
He wrote, "Hey Mark, pass this around."
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
Because Milligan and I borrowed your copy and we went and made copies for ourselves
Oh my God.
at the expense of his mom. His mom worked at the Board of Education, so we would just go there and make copies.
So
Um,
yeah. So I illegally
and
printed it at
Milligan,
Camden County College because I printed it because I worked for the radio station too there, and so I went into a different office like admin and just like printed a copy that I found online. My God,
now,
man.
what's funny about that is Milligan is really good at kind of copying people's handwriting. So we like we made a copy of yours, and then we took the cover, whited out your name, and wrote our names. Hey Rob, pass this around. Hey Brian, pass this around.
Oh my God.
You would not know it was not Kevin Smith writing it because Milligan's really good at doing that.
That's
Um,
crazy.
but I think what
Really
you're
good at
talking about
forging.
is so he told you to pass it around because Superman Lives
Yeah.
had already been killed by that point. But the second part of your story
It's a Mandalorian effect.
is the Mandalorian effect. Well, no, because you got him to sign. What happened when you handed him the other script?
What did I have? What did I have there? Oh, a Dogma
You,
script.
you dogma, and he
Yeah,
said,
that's right.
he's like, where did you get this? Like he wasn't
Yeah, he was not happy
thrilled.
that I had that. He wasn't
No,
really pleased that I had that. It was like it said fourth draft. I think it was fourth draft. Yeah, that's right. I had a Dogma script, and I was Dogma even filmed.
I
It
don't
wasn't even
remember.
filmed.
Yeah,
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh my God, it was so crazy. And what was funny about that too is I think I had to go something. I know what he was doing the Q&A and I was in the audience and then I had to like walk up and then he like asked me, "Were you in the audience there for that?"
no, I
Did you
wasn't.
go to that? Yeah, but he
I
like asked me.
wish.
He's like, Mark, where are you going? And I was like, so I gotta go to the bathroom. He's like, all right, well, make sure you don't leave. Like, then later on, I saw him again either backstage, and he gave me posters. I have a Clerks poster, and it was signed to my dad. Or no, he gave me like a VHS copy of Clerks, and it wrote like to my biggest fan. And I gave it to my dad, like
That's
So
awesome.
I told my dad liked it. I got a Clerks bumper sticker, but he had stickers that was like, I mean, if we had. I may have even broke it on the news show on the AM station that could only really go 5 miles around, right? We couldn't even really get it at the store. But
Real quick,
the
Mark had a AM radio station show for how long?
yeah, basically 1 week they didn't get advertising money, and then they were like, "Well, That's it. And what was
Yeah.
crazy was like I think it was like $150 for 2 hours of airtime
Right.
at an AM radio station across from a diner in Blackwood,
It
right? Basically.
was it on Deptford, right on Delsey Drive, across the street from the Seven Star Diner.
Yeah, it's on right. It's 41 and more 47 turns and goes. It's the
Oh
other
yeah,
side.
it's technically Herf Road or Herfville
Peripheral.
Road.
Yeah, it's a
That's where 41
41.
turns into. You take the 41 down to the 47 down by the
This is a
down by
very
55.
select, I'm surprised sometimes when I talk about like I brought up Oak Valley. My girlfriend I was talking about, like I was like, oh, I was trying to date a girl in Oak Valley, and that but she had more money than me because I wasn't from Gardenville Center, and like if I was a Bexell Farms girl, like geez,
Of
like
course. They're
but like trying to explain like the money, around. She's
yeah,
like, well,
I know.
I grew up in Cherry Hill. I'm like, oh, I couldn't date you. You're in Cherry Hill. Like you made a lot more money. Your parents
Ugh.
made a lot more money. I couldn't. So, but
Oh
because
yeah.
even back then it was like, what neighborhood are you from? I'm not dating you.
Well, you know what's
So
funny is like because I was from Blackwood Terrace, which is technically I think they try to change it to Deptford Terrace because it's like it's literally
right
a
on the
terrace.
line.
The hills go down into
Hmm.
Blackwood Terrace, and there's like
Right.
Blackwood Lake and the Timber Creek. And like I was telling my dad about, Oak Valley kids. He's, oh yeah, the Terrace kids used to hate the Oak Valley kids. We'd get in rumbles all the time. I'm like, yeah, we don't really
Hmm.
rumble anymore, Dad. Like
We don't
no
rumble
rumble. I'm not gonna
anymore. Not exactly. No.
not like the Jets versus the Sharks coming in.
Right. 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 So. But I mean, it's kind of cool. This is coming out through Archie. Didn't Tom King do an Archie one shot earlier in the year that like a Betty and Veronica or something?
I
I
feel
feel like
like
it came out and
did
came
it
and
come
went.
out? I think I missed it. I Whenever there's something weird with Archie, I check it out because
Hmm.
it's kind of worth checking out. Like we all kind of grew up on Archie. Archie made the genius move of putting digest in the in shopping stores. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
genius
yeah.
move. Like Archie Digest, Double Digest, Triple Digest. Like they
Hmm.
just sold like crazy. And it's funny because whenever you would date a girl and you bring out comics, they'd always be like, "Oh, I read Archie." I'm like, "Oh, well,
Yeah. It was safe. It
that's
was safe to give to kids and that turned into like even Disney had their own digest for a bit and they hired
right."
all
And
like the
Nickelodeon
Italian
tried doing it.
guys.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I mean,
So
we'll see
we'll
who's
see.
drawing this. Fernando Rios. Yeah. It's so it is the regular art team I think now of the Archie comics mainly the main
I'm
Archie comics
glad
now.
that Kevin Smith is writing it. I was joking earlier, like I didn't know he's writing it. I'm like, well, at least hopefully Kevin Smith comes in and writes all Silent Bob lines,
Right.
which haha,
Well, it
he
says mature
doesn't.
audiences, so that's kind of fun. And like even up here, it's not approved by the Comics Code Authority. So there's funness in here. Hopefully it reads better. Like I haven't liked. Uh, is that I'm trying to see what that is. Secret Stash Press. Yeah, so he's doing Secret Test. This might
Right.
be because that's
It's
through
a
Dark Horse. He has his own like little line of all his books, but I haven't really liked any of those. You said those are all right.
Yeah,
Those
the
Clerks
Clerks ones
books.
are they fit in good with the Clerks universe. The last Clerks storyline, just sorry. I gotta not curse on this show, maybe. Like if
I
we ever put it on Apple, is it explicit? Um, hey, how you
don't know
doing
if it's
on
going to
that?
affect the show. Yeah, I don't know.
One day
We're
you're just gonna do like
43
an
issues
Apple
deep.
episodes? We are.
I might just
Like
have to put that. I can't. Maybe I
all
won't
40
number it
put all
on
43.
Apple.
What?
Maybe I won't number
No,
it on Apple.
no, number it. You have to. Because
Mm,
people like to keep track.
okay,
All right.
one's
Um,
up. Episode one's up on
is it?
Apple. No, actually, no, it's on Spotify.
Wow.
So, hey man, it's only so many hours.
No, you're right. No, we did we say last week like we need just like one more day in the week? Just one more
Yeah,
day in the
yeah,
week.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Saturday comes
I
and
don't want to
goes. We
I don't
try to
want
do stuff
to
Saturday, and it's not a thing. And then
no.
Sunday we're like, oh, okay, here we go. You know what I mean? Then
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
and this takes all day to do. Like in our heads, we're like, oh yeah, we'll get up at 8, get on by 8:30, be done by like 10:30. But it
right,
doesn't happen. And then it's like now it's the afternoon, and my wife's like, well, good thing I get you on Saturday because Sunday's like a bust.
right.
I'm like, no,
Sorry,
that's a bust. And then I point at her boob.
sorry, Gat. That goes over well. Just like all our jokes. You mentioned this to me a couple times. We don't know, and then but we're talking about Batman. So of course, Batman 158 is coming out, right? This is Hush
Yes.
2 or
Part
Hattush.
one, part one of
Hattush. This is the
Hush
first time I
2.
think I saw that Hattush. Hattush.
Ugh. Hush Tua. Oh, Hush Tua. People calling it
Oh,
that?
I hope not.
I
Yeah,
know.
dated. But I think when we were kind of talking back and forth, and I'm not sure if this is a real thing or not, when he did the first Batman, you would figure that he would want to renumber Batman, right? When he went to do the Batman, whatever
The first time he
the
did
first
the,
Hush,
the
yeah.
first time he did Hush, Batman 608,
And maybe it wasn't, but he said he wanted to do it because he wanted to kind of treat it like it was Batman Year One, where Batman Year One just was in Batman. It was
which I
just
100%
plopped
I
in.
100% appreciate that. I approve of
But
that.
maybe that's not true because now both of us there, I don't even know, like he still wants to have the number one. The best-selling comic of all time technically is X-Men number one.
Yes.
Yeah. I
That will
feel
no
I
no
feel like it's
one
Death of Superman. I feel like it's Death of Superman because it's not it's the same comic book printed
technically speaking,
polybagged.
yes. X-Men 1 is technically 5 comics because it's the same comic with 5 different covers and
It's
different posters.
right,
And the
correct.
fifth issue is
The
actually on
deluxe.
printed on different paper with
Hmm.
extra things in it.
Hmm.
So,
Not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
well, Death of Superman, those numbers, we don't know if they're real because Death of Superman was always like a 1.5 to 3 million, and then somebody said 6 million, and everyone just kind of went with that. But there's no evidence of that. That's never been said before.
Right, right,
Because right now, X Force number 1 is number 2.
right, right,
You
right,
know, so I don't think Death of Superman outsold X Force number 1, but
right.
I don't know either. Yeah, because those numbers, like I said, they came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, 30 years later, Death of Superman sold more than X Force. I don't think so.
Yeah,
And I'm
and
not
see,
saying that it sell good. I know the book sold incredible.
and we're not really happy with this concept because we know that they're doing a new number one for Batman. So you're going to have Batman 158 through 165, 64, six
Well, we're going to get
issues
6 issues, and then we're going to
canceled.
get
You're canceled.
new Batman number 1,
They're canceling Batman to do a new Batman number one to get the
and
sales,
then so
which is Matt
in
Fraction.
18 months when he comes back for Hush 2 Part 2, the follow up 6 issues, are they going to be? He's going to go
Batman
back to
13.
164.
No, because
Yeah,
164 is going to be Batman number one. Well, actually, no, there is no 164 because that Batman number one will be whatever Batman issue is now, a legacy, blah, 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 blah.
but are we going to want to see the Matt Fraction Batman series stop just so Jim Lee can come back for 6 issues? Is that the
Doesn't matter.
plan?
Jim Lee is the president of
Yeah,
DC. So it doesn't matter if
right.
we want it or not.
But is he
But
coming back to
it
Batman
can
164
technically,
or
and
Batman
see,
13?
look, here's the problem is that whenever there's a break and they come back, it never has the same momentum, just the way it is. Okay. So the cap, Garney Wade cap, Garney Wade cap comes back. First three issues are really good. And then no one can tell me what happened after that. No one really can tell me what happens after that. And then they
Yeah, I
they
can
try to
because
do it again.
they break his shield.
Yeah, they break
Like
his shield, but they lose his shield. But that's a great issue. That's the best Garney art maybe ever. Underwater, trying to get his shield, can't get to it, and then they make it a point 2 issues later and say like, well, can't like Namor find it?
yeah,
And they're like, because that's what we said was, well, just call Namor. What's up?
yeah,
What's
just
Namor
call
doing?
Namor.
Give him a call. Give him a call. He's on speed dial. But that run, then that didn't really hold. So then it went to like Sentinel of Liberty, which was like a third Captain America run by Wade and Garney, which was still
Which
a third less as good, right?
which was
So a third
supposed to
third.
go to Andy Kubert. But then for some reason they took Ron Garney off Cap and put Ron Garney on Sentinel of Liberty and put Kubert on regular Cap. And I'm like, no, I would have liked to see that
Yeah,
book
right.
launch. I didn't get that at
As
all. Bad
Andy,
move.
right?
Yeah,
But that didn't last long. That didn't last.
I don't
That
think it got
book,
to 12 or 14 issues.
yeah. So that's over.
Maybe.
And then somewhere around there, they're like, we're gonna do Marvel Universe too, which was kind of like a Invaders
I
book to
like,
start,
but I
and
like
then
that
that
book.
changed.
That was
I
Roger
didn't like
Stern,
that book
right?
at the time. Yeah, that was Roger Stern, had Pacheco covers. The first storyline, I forget who drew it, but
You
then the
got a
second
Mike Manley
storyline,
monster,
we
Atlas
liked the
monster
second storyline. I
story.
didn't like it initially, but I
Yeah,
like it now. You know what I mean? I like it now because I like all that MonsterVerse shit. But at the time, I'm like, what is this? I don't want
yeah.
this. This is old ideas. But
You
my
know,
point is
they had
here,
these really nice Pacheco covers colored by Liquid, and
mm,
I think they just popped. Maybe our T Bear
they
inked
did.
them. That was a
Yep.
good, like Pacheco T Bear Liquid. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I'm saying is the momentum of that. So you're saying now we're actually breaking. We know two breaks. So we know that it's a planned break for Jim Lee to break off, right?
Right.
And then now it's going to be, we think, a planned break. It's not going to make any sense for them to do Hush 2 Part 2 number one. You know what I mean? Like but when we talked back and forth today texting throughout the week, we were like, well, that's because Jim Lee wants to have the best number one. He's not renumbering because they made a joke about it. They're like, it's the highest issue 158 of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Wow,
doesn't, you and I have come to the
cool.
idea. If he sold 400,000 copies of Hush 2 Batman 158, that's great. Could he have sold 500,000 copies if it was a number one? Maybe. But what did
To
Absolute
what
Batman
end?
sell? I
Oh
still
yeah, I
think
don't know.
he's intimidated by Absolute Batman sales,
Sure.
and he doesn't
Yeah,
want to be the second best-selling Batman book
of the year. Yeah.
of the year because that's
Well,
embarrassing because
sort
you're
of.
Jim Lee.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's a little weird, and also these
Also,
variants are just
we can't believe,
strange.
we also can't believe these numbers. Not to say we
Yeah,
don't trust in comic companies, but they don't have any, we can't look this
the
up.
comic data was Diamond would put out the comic data basically,
It was
right?
public knowledge what your comics
Right.
sold. And then the comic companies will always be like, yeah, well, that's not counting international sales or direct or newsstand sales. We're like, okay, so we get it, but this is what the comic stores ordered. This is the base number of non-returnable copies that you've gotten.
Right.
But
Right.
we can't trust Lunar because Lunar's not going to give out those numbers, and DC's not going to give out those numbers.
Right. Right.
So we just have to trust them that they sold 400,000 copies.
Yeah. So here's the ratios, which I think are really odd, right? Because
All right,
like, where's my calculator? Calculator time, everybody.
it's
It's
time for the
everybody's favorite
calculator.
time. Look at this
It's time for the
calculator. So
calculator.
70s, right? Look at that.
Boop, boop, boop,
It
boop,
actually
boop,
matches
boop,
what's
boop.
going on behind me. Yeah. And my cat. My cat's
Is
here.
it
My
solar
cat's here to help.
powered?
My
Is it a
cat's here to
solar
help.
powered calculator?
No. Oh yeah, it
Is it
is.
crazy that solar powered calculators? We've had them since at least the 80s, and they got so cheap. They'd be like $1. You get them free if you
Right.
have. I remember the one I had was like my mom smoked, and if you bought so many packs of cigarettes, like here's a free solar powered calculator. And I was like, wait till solar power does a whole house. Like, how can you give away a calculator for free, but like solar panels still cost like 2 grand a panel or something?
Right. Um. So what I'm looking at here is that these 608s, like, how do you decide? Is it like one 608A, one 608B, and they're only black and white? If I'm ordering 600 copies, 607 copies of a
Oh, so what you're
$5
saying
book
here is if you order 600 copies, 608 copies, which is the number he did when he took over Batman
the
initially for
first time,
Hush.
right? Which makes
That's a
no sense because
funny
this was
number.
158, right?
But you do have a 1 on 158 ratio too. What a weird number to lock in on. You and I had said you either do Hush 2, number one, or you do Batman 950, whatever it is.
Yeah, why don't you just start the renumbering here, man? Oh, so stupid. So it's 400,000 copies divided by 608. So it's 658 copies, basically. It's not even the right number. It doesn't equate that well, right? So it 600, 658 copies of A and B, or is that cut in half? Does that mean that I get
If you order
329,
608,
329?
you
You can
still
get
get all
one.
the. If you
You
order
can get
600, oh
one.
my God. So
That's
you
what
got
I'm
to
saying.
order 1,216 copies to get every variant.
Yes. But you're not even giving me a color fucking variant here. You're not even going to give me a color one. What's happening? What is happening right now? Also, and this is more for us, and the reason that I really need an LCS seriously is this. Look at this. So here's another weird shit too. So March 25th, the end of this month, I
You
guess
son
three
of a
weeks away,
bitch.
2 weeks away. Fuck. At 6:08 local time. What's the 25th of March? What day is that? Is that a Wednesday? It can't be a
Probably.
Wednesday. Why would you do? Why would you hold a Wednesday? Right? All right, so let's
Right?
let's see. March 25th
It's a
is a
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So a Tuesday at 6 o'clock at night, which guess what? By the way,
Look, is that California time?
most stores are
Because that's
closed
where
on
DC is.
Tuesdays. Okay. A lot of stores are closed Monday, Tuesday. Okay. Sometimes they're even closed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay. These stores, they don't make any money. Like it's sometimes the second job, it's the second job for this person. A lot of times, South
Uh,
Jersey. Okay. So you need to have someone working on that Tuesday, bank Tuesday. The only store I know is open on Tuesday might be Ron's and the comic book store. Bill, I believe, is closed on Tuesdays,
Bill is
right?
closed.
Bill's
Frankenstein
closed on
Comics in
Tuesday.
Woodbury. Let's promote this. Bill's Frankenstein Comics is Woodbury, New Jersey. That's
Mhm.
Bill Bede. He used to work for Diamond. He's thrilled at their downfall because he hates Jeppy.
Right.
He laughs, cackles to himself. It's like a
He used to work there.
He used to
I
work
worked
there.
there too. Yeah, so I mean, I get it because we would see gross negligence of money being spent. That's the problem. And then I worked in a basement. I couldn't see outside. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the difference. Okay, and there was a lot of favoritism, and a lot of jobs didn't move around very well. They just did not.
Well,
Okay,
it's a privately held company. You can do whatever you want to.
a lot of yeah, a lot of frustration. So,
Listen, man,
but
you don't buy yourself a copy of Superman #1 by not knowing how to make money. And that place just
right,
looks like it just bled out money,
yes.
which is bad.
Well, he closed. He closed. I mean, he had a really nice like museum that was in Camden Yards that you could go to. You can spend. I think it was very low to go in. I think it's on one episode of Comic Book Man. I think Walt goes through that museum with Jeppy,
Right.
so you can look up. That's probably on AMC Plus or whatever the heck it's from right now, wherever it
I
is.
like that show.
Um, you can go and see that museum, which is all Jeppy stuff, which maybe he's selling now. Why don't you sell half that shit and then like keep your company alive? No, he's gonna chop it up and sell it.
Hey, you know who was almost
It's
on that
probably already
show?
gone. Probably already gone.
Milligan almost got on that show.
Oh, because he was probably selling something. Because they
Well, he,
it eventually became like a Pawn Stars. It wasn't like that initially, but eventually became
yeah,
like a
yeah.
Pawn
Well,
Stars.
Milligan had a 9.9 Walking Dead, which was
Mm,
like one of the probably the first 9.9 Walking Dead #1s. And I
Jesus.
think they wanted him to come in and like sell it to him. But like he wouldn't have got, I don't know if it would have been a fake sale or a real sale, but he made more money selling it, separately from the show. But like I definitely recognize people on that show. Like there's this one toy dealer used to buy toys from Walt when we used to do Bill's toy show in Cherry Hill.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
But I like the show. It's weird how they film it. You think the store is so much bigger than it really is, but it's not that big of a store.
Well, now, yeah, now it's a different store. Now they moved
No, I
again.
went to that store.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, now it's a different store, I think.
Now it's a different store.
But I visited that store.
It's real skinny, right? Isn't it real skinny, straight
Yeah,
back?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's, it's no Legend size.
Mm.
A little longer. It's longer than Legends.
Yeah, it's about a
Legends,
third longer. Correct. Yeah.
right?
I was only ever in it
But it was
once.
nice. And I met what's his name?
Walt Flanagan or
Walt
Steve.
Flanagan. Got a picture with him.
I
But
met the other guy. I
I
met
met him. Who Brian Johnson?
mm.
I met Brian Johnson. He came to Bill's toy show
Okay. Okay.
in Cherry Hill. Looks how it all blends together. Everything
Yeah, I
connects,
know
Mark.
what's the other one name? Mike Zabsik. He was
Mike
at
Zapsik and
he comes to Cherry Hill shows. Like he'll come down and buy stuff. He spends a lot. Him and his family come and they look through and they buy a lot of stuff. Hey man,
I
whatever.
seen I seen all of them talking near the bathrooms in New York Comic Con one year. Just
I never met
everyone but
Ming. Yeah.
Ming was there. Ming was there with all of them.
Well, Ming
I'm like, oh,
started because he was like a guy that liked View Askew and was like, hey, I can do web design, and then like did like their web design. I think that origin story is right.
I think you're 100% right.
Origin story. But here's where I need an LCS, and you might as well. So, additionally, retailers who at least one 25 count bundle of the ash can. So that's a separate thing. Jesus.
That's the ash can that we looked through last week, right?
Yeah, but you had to. Where do you order
Order.
that from? From where?
And you had to order 25 of them.
From where? Comics Pro? Like I don't know. Like do you get to remember Comics Pro and then like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it seems too exclusive. Then they can order the qualified order Batman 158 launch party glow in the dark variant cover. Which variant cover? It's gonna be a Jim Lee cover. It's gonna be this fucking cover. This. Like I don't want this glow in the dark. What's gonna glow in the dark? You know what I'm saying? Look,
Yeah.
the glow in the dark shit we showed earlier, right? That very specific inked, specific lined, perfect Art Adams glow in the dark. Perfect. This will not
Yes.
glow in the dark well. I don't know what it's way after the fact. It's not designed to glow. That it wasn't designed either to glow in
You
the
know,
dark, but the lines are so
modern,
clean you can do it.
a lot of modern glow in the dark comics, like the whole cover glows. Like it's not like so specific like it was when we got them. It's more like they print it glow and like maybe the blacks kind of offset the glow in the dark parts. It's not like the old days where it's like you
Yeah.
paint on this radioactive, material
Right,
and that
right,
stuff
right.
glows. Every 90s comic that's glow in the dark still glows to this day.
Yeah, we
That's
don't
insane.
understand the glow in the dark stuff because again, my Ghost Rider toy glows perfectly.
Yeah. My
That
Ghost Rider
poster
15,
glows. Yeah, the
Ghost
Ghost
Rider
Rider
15,
15
the first glow in the dark cover, the best glow in the dark cover still glows.
probably. Yeah, that's the Texiera.
Yeah.
It
I
never
got
looks right
my
to me whenever I see it. Like when they color for collections and shit. I hate the way it looks there. Like if it's like Dan Brown inking it. So the math on this just doesn't. But okay, so the glow in the dark variant appears to be the version of the Batman symbol. but reveals a swarm of glowing bats in the dark. I don't know what they're talking about.
They
there's a
showed it
Batman
somewhere.
symbol? Yeah, I don't remember, but I'll see if I can find it. But do I want that as the fuck knows. But basically so qualifying retailers can order launch party glow in the dark variant covers as an open to order variant. So they can order 100, 200, 300 copies of it.
Good.
Uh, but I don't know. But you have to be again. You had to have already had the ash cans purchased, I guess. At least one 25 count. I don't know. I don't know any stores do. I could check. I could check with Final Boss. I could check with them. But so I'd be curious what that glow in the dark is. Again, do things like this. Do this. Do glow in the dark stuff. This
Yeah.
608 makes no fucking sense to me. So that means if 400,000 copies, that means it's 328, 329, 329. I think. Unless when you hit 608, no, you get to 608A, 608B. Why isn't this just 159? Why wouldn't that just be 159? You have to order 609 copies of. You know what I mean? It's just the math's weird here. I don't know what the math is. 608's weird, but then you have two issues to qualify 608, and it's also not in color. What are you doing? I don't understand.
That'll
What,
probably be like that'll probably be like the trade cover, the hardcover cover.
yeah, that right. That's the absolute cover, right? For
Yeah.
the wraparound. So he already drew the wraparound. Got it. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right. You're
And
always right.
you're always right.
Right. Right. Right. Right. Okay. So this going into math, I love it and hate it because this is confusing to me because I asked this of you. So has a big sale if you're a retailer. Someone screenshot what is available and then gave it to Rich Johnson who put it on Bleeding Cool. But here's a bunch of stuff, and my question is, how is this around? So looking at these, so just take for example, Transformers is now on 12 printing. So how do you have, and if
You ever meet
Transformers 1 sold out,
you ever meet Luna?
how do you have, no, how do you have, that's the small, you have two
Yeah.
dogs or one?
Nope, just one little dog.
Okay.
Little Luna. She's
Sounds
a good
louder.
puppy. She's a good.
Sounds,
Yeah, I hate dog things.
that's how it goes. They eat
It
their own
is.
poop.
They eat
Um,
their own food. All right, I'll let you go.
but I don't, on the math of this, like, how is this many, if Scarlet sold out, Scarlet went to second printing, how do you have multiple copies of 50 copy, right? That means, did you short people? And then when I talked to you about it, you said, no, it's probably just boxes of shit somewhere. Like this
Yeah,
GameStop exclusive somewhere, Scorched #1. Okay.
yeah. I mean, they might have shorted people for sure, but they also had to have extra copies for damages. You always have to overprint for damages and lost stuff. In comic stores, not all of them, but some of them do. They like to do this thing called lying,
Mhm.
where they get the exclusive variant and they're like, "Oh, it showed up damaged," because they and you know what? There is a high chance they show up damaged because they don't ship them with the rest of them.
Mhm.
Because they're like, "Oh, they ordered 50." They don't put them in with the 50, where if where it was a nice tightly
Is
packed
that right?
box.
They used to do
Sometimes
that. That's what they used to do.
what put them in with the 50.
Yeah, I feel like the Gen 13 when we got Gen 13, like it was just mixed, or it would be 1 to 5, 1 5. Like it would be. I feel like the 1 and 5, 1 and 10s in 1999. Again, I'm talking literally 25 years ago, quarter century ago.
No, but I think these retailer incentives sometimes are packed separately.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they were bagging and boarding them because they know they're that important, but
Mhm.
they weren't always bagging and boarding them.
Yeah,
And some
but I when I listened to this guy Wes and the way he described these, is that sometimes you don't always have to order 50, that you can just pay for it as if you were buying 50 and you're not getting printed 50 copies. I don't know if that's true or not.
I would always
That's
prefer to
really
get the 50
screwy.
copies.
Well then you don't pay the shipping on. But see, this is how like weird and menial like the industry is. You know, like are you going to sell 100 copies of Rook Exodus? No, you might not. So, but you might have someone who. So say this was $30. Like I don't want to. Let's not do math. This is very boring. But
No,
anyway, I just find it crazy that like this is now published. This will do what to the eBay marketplace if any of these are on eBay, right? People are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" I can just go to my retailer and say, "Hey, can you order me Scarlet #4? I missed that issue." Of Eric and Eddie. I don't know. It's just odd to me The list was crazy. It was a lot of Ghost Machine shit. It was a lot of like 1 in 50. Like it just kind of to me, it's like, is anything really sold out? Because it seems like issue pretty much 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. So issue 1 through 15, are they sold out? They're on fifth. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what's happening here.
It's just
You
the
know?
incentives. It's not the regulars.
Right, but what do you do after it's after the wave's over? Shouldn't you put it into like remember previews used to have, I guess this is in previews, right? Or it is. Yeah, it is. But they used to have like an insert and you can go back and order the second prints. We'd have an insert every week. And it would
Right.
say like here's your second prints, here's fine, what does final order cutoff even mean anymore? Like it's just like it's just goofy to me. Like this even going back to Batman is this is 400,000 copies, right? So you're
Right.
saying these 608s, I'm saying it has to be 329. They're going to print 400 of them, probably, right? And then you have, can you imagine being a retailer and be like, it's 1 in 608, and you're like, it's damaged. You're like, sure, I'm not sending you a new one. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and now that everything is like
But how many get
9.8, because when
stolen by
when when
Diamond?
we were in, like, it's not as if like Milligan would want the best copy, but there was no such thing as 9.8 in 1999. Now everyone's like, it's got
No.
to be 9.8, 9.8. Everyone's got to be 9.8. The chance of it being a 9.8, I get damages that my mom will get working for my brother. They're barely, barely, they're what, maybe 9.62.
Right.
I don't care. I'll take any damage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care because I'm
That's
just
right.
looking at it. Yeah, yeah.
Dearest
So,
brother, rather than throw these away, perhaps you
dearest
can give
brother,
them to me.
just give me a stack. I ain't reselling. I'm just enjoy them. So, um, we need to get out of the sad part of all this industry stuff. But here's more industry stuff, right? So our friend of the show, Nick Barucci, he kind of, I thought this was kind of cool. Image when Image, no, who left? DC left, right? And
DC
and
left first.
and Eric Stevenson said, "You guys are jerks for doing this." And then that was what, 2 years ago. And now Eric Stevenson's leaving is doing the same thing. So 4 years after that. So I think that Nick's kind of calling him on it and saying, hold on, like this isn't that great. Can you not do that? Like uh I don't know. We need them. He's basically calling them on the carpet
Well,
saying like we need them to stick around. If we if
yeah, but didn't
you
he? Just looking at this now, it seems more like Eric Stevenson. He's more commenting. He's commending Eric Stevenson for saying, "Hey, Diamond, you need to do this. Diamond, you need to do that." Like he was
hmm,
trying to make Diamond a better company, and I think that's what makes the frustration for Stevenson to finally have to leave because there's good years. He's saying there's good years or bad years.
yeah. All of this listen, we're just everything's frustrating.
So he's
Like
saying Image
everything
did
here is
not twist
frustrating.
the knife. Image tried to do everything that they could.
Oh,
And the
I see.
bankruptcy just happened because the bankruptcy was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Nick Barucci is commending Eric Stevenson for sticking around for as long as he did. Eric Stevenson probably should have taken Image out like right away,
Mm,
but he didn't. And he stuck around. He's like, "Hey, Diamond, let's do this." Eric Stevens is very smart. He's always for different things to get fans back in the comics. Eric Stevens wants everyone to succeed because the better Marvel and DC do, the better Diamond does, the better
mm.
Image does. It's literally the case of the rising tide lifts all boats.
Right, right,
The
right.
better Marvel does, the better Image does. They all help it. They all bring people into the comic store. Batman bringing Jim Lee and Batman bringing people back to the comic store. Well, now you're in the store, and if you're not just going to come in and buy one comic, you're going to go, anything else neat looking? What the hell's Bug Wars? You
Mm,
know, is this Absolute stuff? Here's a Jim Lee cover for Absolute. Maybe I'll get both of them. Any
right,
Jim Lee
right.
variant is going to sell the week his Batman comes out. So I think he's commending him because even Nick Brucci, he's loyal as hell, and
Mm,
he doesn't want to leave Diamond, but like he's got employees to think about. He doesn't know what this bankruptcy is going to lead to.
yeah.
If he leaves, will he ever get the money that Diamond owes him? We don't know. If he sticks around, is that part of the deal? Like maybe if I stick around a little longer, they can start paying me the money they owe me. That's kind of
Yeah,
the hope,
there's a
right?
lot of there's the hope. There's just a lot of uncertainty because there's no rules on this. Like unless it gets sold for fire sale, and then I think they have to do a certain liquidation, they get a percentage. It's a lot
I
of
mean,
stuff. It's
Nick.
a
I
lot of
mean, yeah, it
frightening.
sucks. Nick Brucci's not owned by Disney. He's a dude owning a company.
Hmm.
You know, he may be well off, but he's not super rich. He's not rich enough
Jersey,
to eat that. He's not enough. They owe him so much money. He can't eat that,
right,
but he may
right.
have to, and that's truly tragic.
Yep.
So
All right. Better news. More
better
fun
news.
news. This was Toy
Mm,
Fair stuff we missed on the last Toy Fair gigantic episode. This is probably also a gigantic episode.
turning out to be.
Mask, new mask toys from loyal subjects. I guess this is a new person entering the game, like Super 7 or NECA. I never heard of these guys, but the replicas look good. I feel just right off, and
Yeah.
just you say you like Mask more than you know what you like Mask more than G.I. Joe, right?
Yes. Yeah. As a
Why?
kid,
Can you tell me why?
sure, because it's closer to what I knew. Like the idea of cars transforming into better cars. Like I was a hardcore Transformer fan. I wasn't a hardcore military kid. I wasn't one of those kids who, like love guns.
Hmm.
So like this to me was neat. Like having like my dad worked on cars all the time. So we always had not that we were a junkyard, but we had more cars that were non-drivable than drivable. So the idea of like seeing a car with like guns coming out of it, or like having a fort, like I had a fort in my backyard, and
Hmm.
we'd pretend these metal pipes were guns, and we'd do all this weird, crazy stuff. And like the mass toys always kind of hit me just right. Like the one Condor, my favorite. It's like a green motorcycle.
Hmm.
Boom, helicopter blades
There he
pop out of
comes.
it.
This one. Yeah, I
Like,
had that.
who wouldn't love to have? Who didn't want to fly as a kid? I had a moped. I had a couple mini bikes. The idea of flying with them, beyond my imagination.
Yeah, I had this one. I had the Camaro. Bitchin'
Hmm.
Camaro, bitchin' Camaro.
That's right.
I had that and I had that one. That was it. That's all
Yeah,
I had.
I had a thing for the motorcycle ones. The other one was like a motorcycle, but the sidecar turned into a submarine.
Oh, maybe I did have that. Was that purple?
Yes.
Okay, I might have had
That was,
that one. But
and
don't
here's
these
what's
these look like replicas, no? Like these look like facsimiles almost. I mean,
I don't
they're
know.
these the face sculpts are a little better, but they look to be the same
Now
size,
you gotta remember the
actually.
mass figures were super small. They were like three
Yeah, I guess they
inches.
were. Right. So
They
these
were they were
are
tinier.
probably 3.75.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now
You're
these
right.
were done. These were done by Kenner. Hasbro had Transformers and GI Joe, and to me this is always neat because this was like in the middle. This is where Transformers and GI Joe met. Was in Mask. It was like a combination of the two. So
Right.
Hasbro in the '90s ends up buying Kenner. That's how they get the Star Wars license by absorbing Kenner. And Hasbro never really embraced Mask. Like they showed up a little bit in the IDW universe. And
Mhm.
to me, I'm like, like if I were Kirkman, it seems to be like Mask is the answer. Like if you do a Transformers versus GI Joe, well then GI Joe should go, well, let's take the technology we learned from Transformers and create Mask.
Right.
And what's funny is the bad guys, Cobra could do the same thing because the bad guys in Mask are called Venom. And what comes out of
Mm.
Cobra? Venom. That
Right.
writes itself. All
Yeah,
Struck
it does write
Solution.
itself. It does write itself. And then you have like a Thunderbolt Ross character, this guy, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
he could be like second in command or something at Cobra and he just gets fed
Miles
up.
Mayhem. And he's wearing almost like a Cobra like commander like headpiece, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
the headpieces got lost immediately. Like I remember that like when I was a kid, like that was I think I
Yeah.
got my friend Rick's one. I think he didn't care about it. So I think I got this secondhand, but one thing I hated when I got toys from him is he never did the stickers very well, or he didn't do them at all. So I have a couple
Uh,
Transformers that he gave me, and I was just like, "Fuck you, man! Where the fuck's the stickers at?" Like, I remember getting really mad at it. Or
huh?
this was worse. Think about this as a crime. He put like Decepticon stickers on Autobots because he
What an
thought that would be
asshole.
cool. Right? What an asshole, right?
There's only one Autobot you can do that to. Who is it?
Well, no, there's oh, Jetfire.
Good job. Ding, ding, ding.
Boom, not Skyfire. But
Whoa.
I bought Skyfire. Skyfire was a Robotech, right? Wasn't Skyfire? And it was
Jetfire.
basically Jetfire was
Jetfire was the Robotech mold. The Hasbro just licensed it. Like how funny. And then when the cartoon came out, they couldn't put Jetfire on the
they
cartoon, so
can't
they
put a
changed them.
Robotech figure, right?
Yeah, so they changed them to be Jetfire on the cartoon. Although, if you ever see the commercial for Jetfire, it's an animated. That's what happened. The commercial for the toy came out first, and he straight up Jetfire in the commercial. So by the time the cartoon came around, they're like, "Yeah, we got to change this to Skyfire." But
Oh, I
Hasbro
see.
since has done toys that either
Yeah,
meld them
War of
together.
Cybertron, I think, has it. And there's a new one coming out that has. Did you see this? And I don't think I'll put this in here if I don't. I maybe I did not, or I did not. Did you see that they're doing a Jetfire, and they have two minifigures in Still Void Rivals, both of them, both
Oh, that's
characters.
awesome! I didn't see that.
Yeah, yeah, that
And
that came out late last week, or like
they
just hit. So I'll
they
put
had
that up.
one that Skyfire transformed into Jetfire, like he looked like Jetfire and Skyfire, and you could like change his head would transform to
Oh
look
my
like the
God.
other. Yeah,
Look at the
that was a
Robotech.
lot of yes. It's really awesome. A lot of neat stuff.
Yeah, Transformers is whacked because like it's like three or four different licenses. It's like what was around. Wasn't like a Mega Supreme, not a Transformer. It was just like a
Correct.
train. You know, like
Omega Supreme and Shockwave was a different toy line,
yeah,
and the deluxe Insecticons like Barrage and Chop Shop, they were like Bandai transforming type toys. They weren't like anything
crazy
else.
man.
Like yeah,
But that's what was kind of cool about it. But and I think that's why we like Transformers so much in comparison to Go. First off, the storylines were more adult, and GoBots was really goofy. Um,
yeah, because GoBots
but
was what
He-Man
Hanna-Barbera.
was the same thing because I feel like He-Man just was like every idea, nothing was off the table. Like they were just like, all right, this guy's gonna do this, or like and they almost felt like they were coming from different molds or different people, because I feel like they had so many different character designs.
You and there's so many character designs that we never got. It's insane.
Well, we're eventually
I
getting
mean,
them.
we're
I feel like
getting
they're eventually getting
yeah,
everything, which is what it should be. Which is what it should
it
be.
is. That's
So,
what collectors want. Applause. And you know what? Not only are we getting those characters, but we're getting them in like a modern way. And then they make a classic toy as though if it had come out in the 80s. Like
yeah,
give us
right.
everything because there's a fan for everything. And Transformers is doing it. You know,
Yeah, like the
I love.
Ben Cooper. Ben Cooper's not our generation, but when I looked at the Ben Cooper yesterday, look at these little figures, and it's literally like it's a little kid in a Cooper costume, and
I love it.
the packaging is really good, and I'm like, God. So I think Super Seven is eclipsed. I think they now that they kind of went further and further and further. I think they're the best, most diverse line.
Yeah.
NECA should have never lost the Godzilla line, but they did. But they did put out everything basically, so I can't really be mad at that. But all the Godzilla toys
NECA
I have are that.
NECA did statues of the 2002 He-Man line. They called it the 2000X He-Man line. They did statues of the toys because that toy line came out. Did a couple ways, but like it wasn't a huge success, so they canceled the cartoon, which is fantastic, by the way. The 2002 He-Man cartoon is great.
Does he have the
The
short hair?
toys are no.
No,
I kind of forget. It was
I don't
like
remember.
different. It was different. It wasn't the Prince Valiant he Prince Adam look. It was a
Right.
little more cooler, not quite mullet, but But that was a really good design, really good story ideas. So when the toy line ended, NECA picked up the license to keep doing the toys as statues, and they were fantastic statues.
hmm
Um, they were like just they because they were a little bit bigger than the toys, but like just incredible design. Like I wish I had them all still.
We don't have details on this, but do we think that's the exact same size as the original? Or maybe it's like a tiny bit higher? If we think this is 3.75, this would have to be a little bit bigger
I
than the actual toys. I don't know.
hard to say.
Yeah.
They're probably the same size
Yeah. They don't
because
have them so big, so.
that toy doesn't look so fantastic. It's not like a new design for the toy,
Right.
you know.
Right. The head sculpt's better, like, but everything and probably the folds are better. But
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
most part, they're trying to make it look like the 80s.
yes,
That's okay. Listen, look, the people that are buying this are 50 years old. You know what I mean?
it's
Like,
true. We're not buying this for
but
our kids.
yeah, but I think like that's the reason why we like the Ben Cooper stuff because those were ads that were in like a lot of the Copper Age like books, or we had them when
Yes.
we were kids, or we were given to them. They were hand-me-downs from
Mhm.
someone else. So the reason we understand what the Ben Cooper stuff
Well, they were
is
still making
because of
it.
that.
They were still making stuff in the 80s when we were growing up.
It's so funny. It's so funny to look at what the Darth Vader one's just they're
Oh
just
God.
they're crazy. They're crazy looking. The
How many kids
Godzilla
cut
one.
their tongues on that little hole, that little, it was like the tiniest little slit.
I could smell
Can you,
those masks because
oh
I know
yeah.
you said you had the Hulk one.
Yeah.
I forget which ones we had, but I had like a Wolfman one. I know that. Like I know I can
I think I did
smell the
I did
masks.
Wolfman too one year.
Yeah,
I think it was Lone
because
Ranger one
again,
year.
but see, I feel like Ben Cooper isn't it somewhat lore? If this is true or not, I'm not sure. Again, Mandalorian
Are
effect.
you talking about Spider-Man?
I know I'm talking about Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
So Frankenstein, um, I feel like Frankenstein was never assumed to be green, but was made green in the Ben Cooper ads to sell Frankenstein costumes, and then after that they made him green. He's always was green. Munster's green. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that was that case. The Spider-Man Ben Cooper thing was kind of used in uh, Earth X, right? Because Earth X um,
Yeah.
had him as it's a Peter Parker Spider-Man, but everyone knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man in the Earth X universe. So
Yeah.
he's literally wearing like a store costume And I don't think they did this on purpose, but like my favorite scene, it made me cry. I believe audibly, very loud. I gasped when uh on in Spider-Verse. When Stanley, because Stanley died. And this was, I think Stanley was maybe it was audio of him, and he's like
Yes.
the mask will always, something like the mask will always fit. It will eventually, or something like that. And I was like, oh, like I just made like this like gasp. I did the same thing
Oh yeah.
when you saw Yoda, or you saw the back of Yoda in Last Jedi.
Right.
Because regardless of what you think about Last Jedi, I think most people like that scene. No, like I don't know. I have no
Oh, we
idea.
love that scene.
People
Oh my
hate Last
God.
Jedi. I still kind
When
of like Last Jedi. So
when
like
he
all
asked
around,
Luke if he had read all the Jedi journals or
it's so
whatever,
funny.
what does Yoda say? He's like something like real page turners or something or not.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
so funny.
yeah.
And
It's
Luke's like,
really
"Oh yeah,
funny.
yeah, I glanced at him."
Yeah, but we all relate to that because I'm like, yeah, I read the Watchmen backs, the back of Watchmen. No, I don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like it's. I think eventually I
I
did, but when I was a kid, I'm like, nah. Like, let me
no, no. You know what's
any
funny?
appendices or anything.
I was the opposite. At like 13, I would have read
You couldn't get
everything.
enough. You couldn't get
I
enough of
didn't.
it.
You know why? Because I didn't have a lot. I didn't have a lot, so I just would read what I had. That's why those image guys always stuck with me because I
You were
reread
watching Jaws 4 and you were
Jaws for
reading your did you have the Warner Brooks what edition, what was your first Dark Knight Returns? I had
two, number
the
two.
Warner Brothers one. Yeah, but what did you have as a trade? Did you get I got the Warner Brothers trade at Walden Books in Deptford.
Yes, yes. With the is that the Ken
It's the
Stacy?
painted cover.
Yeah, right. It looks like it's not Ken Stacy, but it looks like Ken Stacy, right?
I think technically it is I think it's Lynn Varley. I think Lynn Varley paints it, but it's meant to be like a mass market because it was Warner Books. It was fucking
Yes,
serious. And I think it has
yes.
Rolling Stone like quotes on the cover or back cover. It's
I
like,
don't think
this is fucking serious shit,
I read
you
Dark
know?
Knight number two 100 times without getting one, three, or four,
Wow.
and then I finally got the trade. Um,
Yeah, I
and
feel
then
like my
instead of
brother had one of them, but we never had number one. I feel like he had, I think you're right. I think I had one of them because they didn't come out on time. Like
no, there was a
number one through four came out like about a year, basically.
three and I think there's a huge conspiracy about Dark Knight 3 and 4 getting changed because Frank Miller got a hold of Watchmen and read Watchmen the first couple issues. He's like, I got to make this book better. And that's why he it's a
Hmm.
different story. So the comics Holy Grail and one of the 20 Holy Grails is what was Frank Miller originally going to do with Dark Knight? What was his original ending? Was it going to be more villains or you know what I mean? Because
You
like
know, it's funny.
it
Dark Knight one and
becomes
two
it
have
becomes a Superman story with Batman.
right,
I mean, it becomes a
sure,
Batman Superman. It becomes World's Finest.
right.
And was that what originally what it was going to do? I don't think so.
Right, right. Well, it's kind of funny is like I guess the Frank Miller's works lives so out loud in a way that the fact that both Dark Knight uh stories change in the middle of the story because of world events, because of Watchmen coming out or available to him to read, right? And
Right.
then 9/11 happened. So like between issue 2 and 3 of Dark Knight Strikes Again, like it's he's like I just had a bunch of planes hit a building. Okay, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
like 3 is very different, but it's still evoking the dust imagery, which is horrible. You know what I mean? Like it's ash imagery. But he uses that to great effect to the point where Dark Knight 3 because he became, anti, as we all are, Holy Terror is technically not printed by DC. They put it out through, was that
There's
Top Shelf or Dark Knight 3, well, like his sequel to Dark Knight Strikes Again was Holy Terror. And then DC's like, we ain't touching this,
no,
you know?
he's going around killing like we're all anti-terrorist, but like they're very Middle Eastern and
Right.
like
Is
that's a little
Batman, it's funny, that's almost
Batman's
like going back to like the 40s. That's going back to like this like early
like
Cap where Cap's
yeah,
killing everybody,
yeah, like slap it Jap and all that crap.
Yeah.
Like don't ugh, it's rough. But it's of the time.
That's Rob's stance, which is a good stance. Slap slap a chap for all that crap. 'Cause
All that
we
crap.
agree. We agree that that's bad, those were very bad
They
comics or
but
very dated
they
comics.
were our enemies at that point.
They were
I
it was used as propaganda. You'd have like Cap selling stamps and war bonds.
war
You know what I mean?
bonds.
Like it was right, exactly. So you have Cap Superman sell buy war bonds. There are
Now you
ads
can
for
buy.
Superman buy war bonds.
Now you don't need
Please.
war bonds. You got Trump coin. You can
Listen,
buy
you want to
Trump
get in the
coin.
country? Not a problem. You just pay for it. You
five
know,
$5 million. You get a gold card. Who needs a green card? You get a gold card. Gold's better,
gold
right?
card. Gold's
Gold's
better. Correct. Gold standard.
I
Yeah.
wish.
There we go.
Let's
So
not
I
talk
think
about.
that's it. That's it,
Let's not
right?
go
That's
down
the end
that rabbit hole.
of Yeah, we'll stay out of that. So I think that's it. I think that's it. News of the week.
Oh, you know what else? Here's something interesting.
NOTW.
One last thing, because we can't have a podcast without talking about Liefeld.
Mm.
He made a statement that he grossed $1 million between the first two issues of Last Blood, and I went like, "What?" I'm like, "Holy crap!" Because
Oh,
he's been selling just
I
constantly
got
selling
there.
these books. And mind
I
you,
got
he's done a
there.
lot of variant covers, and he
That's
keeps
what,
pumping them
listen,
out.
it's really difficult to watch the whatnots, because I'm looking at I mean, what's fun about it is he's promoting, he's talking about it, he's signing, he's drawing. They're great whatnots, okay? And then you can go and hit store and then look at all the offerings. And it's really
Yes,
difficult to look through and go like, oh man, I know I have like Rob Messick, Rob Liefeld credit, right? Like, because I have when's the Vault edition should hit? That should hit this
in
month.
April, I think
Mm.
it'd be
Dude,
nice if it was this month to get it before
we
Youngblood.
got so we have some major content for April, basically, because I think with it'll be like a 4 hour episode for Youngblood number one, the new Youngblood number one. It's going to be ridiculous, but it's really hard to look at the Last Bloods that are on there, and then he does like second print covers, and then second print foil covers, and second print foil cover with the green marker, and you're like, shit, or
And
the
then yeah,
chisel.
he signs it and chisels it and does the colors to match the cover. Like, did you see his signatures on his Batman cover? He's doing them in like purple and white, and they fit the Batman. The
Uh,
Lost Halloween, Last Halloween,
right.
semicolon, semicolon. You love it. His
Semicolon.
covered.
Yeah, the
His
Joker
cover.
cover. Right.
So it's great. He's doing a Tim Sale homage. I don't know if we'll talk about that. Are we talking about
Mm.
that during reviews? I don't know. So the point is, he grossed $1 million. That's not saying he made $1 million, because these books are expensive to print. They're not cheap books. They're high quality. The paper is
Yeah,
good.
they're
The
nice, right?
cardstock covers are good.
Yeah.
He's paying a colorist top dollar. You know, and he says, yeah, and I'm using this money to make more extreme books. And I'm
Right.
like, that's what
Right.
you do. You make the money. You plan for the future. Something I feel like Diamond wasn't doing.
Yeah, the direct to consumer stuff. Listen, we would rather, we know just from being music fans and being a lifelong Prince fan, on how Prince was literally changed his name,
Hmm.
or didn't. I should say the best way to describe it is he allowed himself to not be recognized by that name. It was a financial decision that Prince made. He says, "Well, you can promote Prince if you want, but I will not be associated with that name. But I own the symbol. So if you print anything with the symbol, I have a copyright and trademark. So you pay me when you use it on merchandise, when you use it on like, so it just is crazy. It is crazy. And also think about this. In 1996, I had, you remember the Prince Loves Me t-shirt? So I had a t-shirt that I cut in half, right? Because I had a belly button ring back then. And it had symbol loves me, right? Which I think is in one of the, is that Ronthology that have that shirt on? It's like a Prince
Yeah,
shirt.
you definitely have a print shirt, the half
Oh my
shirt,
God. So
belly
I
button
have
ring,
I have the
and
half
the
shirt, my
beret.
belly button ring out, and the beret from Structure, right? From Express Men, right? At the time. Wasn't Express Men quite yet. But that was from 1-800 New Funk, which was his phone number where you can call once a month, and then they would tell you, not on a website, they would tell you the offerings of what you could purchase. And I bought different exclusive. I bought Crystal Ball, which the Crystal Ball came in, and then it eventually came out through, I think, and I bought it again when Warner Bros. Put it out. He did some type of deal with Warner Brothers after he sold it to us, just like what Liefeld's going to be doing with Youngblood One. I got Crystal Ball months and months, almost a year before Warner Bros. Got it. And it was in a special container, and it had two exclusive CDs, and it came with a Prince Loves Me T-shirt, and I Love Prince. It was the I Love Prince on
Yeah.
the back. Um, but I was direct to consumer with him. I was part of the 1-800 New Funk. I got notices that tickets were going to go on sale. I had pre-sale before pre-sales, kind of like what you order from Prince's website, and then it would go to sale to Ticketmaster. Like it's crazy, man. Like that's
No,
way ahead of its time. But
it's
we would rather be, I know Prince is getting my dollar, or did. So he
yeah.
could buy more fentanyl, unfortunately. And then,
I
you know,
I like people. Americans enjoy being part of something. But like I said, I was in the He-Man Matty Collector Club. I'm in the They Might Be Giants Club every time they put out new album because I just get a ton of stuff that's not out there.
It's
T-shirts,
fun.
mugs,
Yeah.
exclusive songs, demos, live versions, alternate takes. I love all of that stuff. And with Liefeld, it's the same thing. Like we're getting like, yeah, are we paying more for it? I am. Does that suck? Yeah. Sometimes I try to buy an extra copy or two to sell to kind of offset it.
Yeah. And that might happen. We might do that, and
But like
that's what collectors do.
that's what we
We
do.
rotate
That's
it
what
in,
you
rotate in and
yeah.
out.
So
Sure.
yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think I'm happy for him to make so much money. That's great. I don't begrudge people. There's he's got this hate following this one guy just always trying to rail. I'm like, this guy's disgusting. Get a life, dude. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't have any problems with him. I've never had any problems with him.
No. I was jealous.
They've
Oh,
been jealous from day one because
no
nobody
one's
should make
doing
that
that.
much money. Nobody should make that money that young, I guess. And that's what they feel. I'm like, really? Because Garth Ennis was writing Hellblazer at like 17. You don't
Right.
begrudge him, you know?
And Gene Hackman lied to go into the army. Gene Hackman was 15 to go fight in a war. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So don't knock ambition. You know what I mean? Like it's odd. It's odd to do that, but it's just jealousy. It's a jealousy factor that's I just like that the engagement is twice a week on and he gives us one or two podcasts a week for quite a bit of time and then takes breaks, but like
Yeah.
he's
Like
the most giving at his age than anyone.
he is 57. He gives us a free podcast that he pays to get produced and leveled out, everything, so it sounds good. And he's not advertising on it. He's the number one comic book podcast.
Mhm.
He's an interesting person. He's got all these inside stories, which is my favorite part of the show. Like I love
Yeah,
his comic history stuff, but like his inside baseball, it's my favorite.
I called you the one day when he did the episode of like Sword and Sorcery. I was like, dude, how the fuck does he know everything? And it made me look up stuff I didn't remember. But he went through every Sword and Sandal comic book from like Conan through,
Yeah,
and he knew everything about
he'll
each
say
one.
he'll
I
say he's
couldn't believe
done.
it.
He'll be like, "Oh, if I wasn't doing comics, I'd probably be in like sweeping or something, But then you talk to him and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute, he knows a lot." Like you and I know a lot.
Hmm.
But it's not our jobs to know a lot. We just enjoy it.
Right,
He knows a lot because he loves it, and it's his job. So he
right,
knows
right.
even more. So it's like it's endlessly fascinating to us. That's why I
Yeah,
love listening to him because it's just so interesting.
yeah. But the last
And
part, but I feel exclusive. But I feel like because I've had access to that, like I feel like that we deserve that. Like that's kind of fun. And now he's like, well, what? Nothing is stopping me because again, he found Image. He found Image.
yeah,
You could say they found Image. He found Image. He found
no,
Image. So
he would have did it with or without him.
everyone was looking at him
Yeah,
to fail or win, whatever. And then they'll make their decision. It's not that brave. That's not that brave.
no,
Jim Lee was who was the last one? Who? What
Jim,
was the order?
Jim, he was always going to be first, but he
Hmm.
was best friends with Valentino and Larson. So it might
Hmm.
have been, I don't know who was first. Might have been Valentino. Valentino was always going to, I think, work with them. And then it was going to be those three were going to do an anthology together. And each
Hmm.
they would take turns doing the cover. So I'm like, that's really neat. And then it
Like,
got to
like graphic
McFarlane.
fantasy, like mega, like it's kind of where they all came from. So
Yes,
that
they all
doesn't
came
that
from that.
tracks. That completely tracks. Valentino was able to. He's the only one, probably because he was older and just had more ties in Marvel, inside Marvel. Um,
Believe it or not, no.
he stayed. Didn't he stay? He stayed the longest though. He stayed with Guardians the longest post. As what my point was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he didn't want to leave. That was a paycheck. He had 5 kids, you know?
But he was
I think
making
two were
Shadowhawk money, but he still kept the plot. Like nothing on on Guardians felt. Oh, he's no phone in 0.0, right? Like I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like he stayed the longest because what issue of Guardians came out and then Shadowhawk came out? Like it's like probably like 13 or something. Like maybe a little later than that.
No, I
But
think because it was Valentino was fully on with like issue 25.
mhm.
That was the holofoil cover with Galactus and such.
Oh yeah,
Holofoil it was like a weird, yeah, it's
yeah, it
beautiful.
was shiny.
It was shiny.
Good
So yeah,
one.
he stuck around. Yeah, they had to fire him. He wouldn't have left because he could handle writing 2 books. He could handle writing Guardians and doing because Shadowhawk was just a series of miniseries. So he could take a month or two break in between and get the Guardians written.
Right.
And Marvel just they just turned on him.
Yeah.
They made this thing like we can't have editorial from another company or a owner of another comic company work for us. It's like what? You
Pretty
don't
good.
want Neil Adams to come back? You don't
Yeah.
want that's a made up rule.
Right. They just again, well, it's a company. They're going to make up their own world. They're going to say conflict of interest and all that shit. It wasn't a
But
conflict of interest,
no, you're just losing money because
and
a lot of
then
people
years
dropped
later,
Guardians.
right?
People dropped that book in droves after he left.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it was Michael Gallagher and Kevin West, and
Kevin West,
it
yeah,
kind of runs through pretty good. And then they had that Galactic Guardians. It's not bad. It's still pretty solid through, and then it goes. It's complete. I read all of them. So I mean, but that there's a real big sweet spot for me on that stuff. It's so weird. I feel like they should have had
because
Marvel.
it hits.
Marvel should have had like I guess it's not. They should have Copper Age Epic collections because they have Epic collections. But I told you when they put out what was it, Guardians Volume 3. The first one is all the Guardians of the Galaxy appearances and Avengers. The second one's about all the Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers more. And then the third one I think is like or the second or third of the original Epic collections, not modern day.
Right, right.
Um, Modern day they're starting with Abnett Lanning. Okay, but they have Volume 3, and it's like there was 14 years. There's some ridiculous gap in between the Guardians last issue and Korvac saga to the first time they show up with Valentino.
Right.
So it's such a weird break, like in the comic, and they have the first like 8 issues of Guardians in the end of this epic collection. I'm like, and then they're gonna put out the next epic collection, and they might need two to wrap it all up. And I'm just like, I mean, it doesn't matter to me because I have the Guardians omnibus
Right.
by Jim Valentino, which is great, by the way.
Beautiful.
Um, that's a great
Yeah.
omnibus. Gromnibus. So anyway, I don't know what we're talking about at this point. I guess just Last Blood and
We're
all that stuff.
yeah,
We're always
let's
talking
talk.
about Liefeld.
Yeah. Oh, always the direct consumer. Last
Yeah,
Blood does good.
but it feels exclusive. It feels like if he made that much money, then that's pure his money. There is no support by any company.
Yeah.
If he's allowed to basically put out us fans and charge 20, 25, 35, but whatever for number one. Okay. And then if I want to eventually, I'm going to buy the image one when that comes out. It's going to have different, maybe slightly different cover branding. He's not going to put the image eye on the ones that we have,
Yeah.
right?
He is.
He can't.
Why not?
Oh, he is? I don't
He
know.
owns it.
But Last Blood doesn't have, it has Red Blood Effect Creations on it. It doesn't have,
Correct. Correct. That doesn't.
yeah, but
But
you think
Youngblood,
Youngblood number one will have image eye
the
on it?
the images he's shown does.
Mm. We don't know if those images are October's. We don't know yet.
We
Hey,
don't.
listen, we're going to have it hopefully in a month. Hopefully we'll
Yeah.
have it in hand in a
But
month and then we'll review it and we're going to go through page by page. We'll go through panel by panel. We'll go through pixel by pixel. That's going to be in, bro. We're going to be like in that thing.
yeah, that'll be fun.
That's Awestruck beyond approved. Major approved.
It's excited, dude. We need more comics. Like, what are your top fives for the year? What are you looking forward to the most? Youngblood and Starman. I'll start it off for you.
Yeah.
Those
Well,
are the two.
if
If we
Starman
get
comes out this year,
if it comes out this year,
I doubt it.
you know,
You know.
those are the
Yeah.
two. What else has got you hyped? I'm hyped for Hush, but here's the thing. Jeff Loeb's writing it, so I hope we get something really good. What's funny? I think I'm less hyped for Jim Lee than I am for Jeff Loeb writing it, because Jeff Loeb's really kind of succeeded on Batman,
Yeah.
semicolon, blah blah blah. So I hope it's really good because when I think of Jeff Loeb at DC, I think of Superman, Batman. I think about a Superman run. I think about For All Seasons and Jeff Loeb at DC just is better than Jeff Loeb at Marvel. But they're two different writers. Jeff Loeb writes at
Sure.
Marvel so differently from his DC stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want his Batman Hush 2 to become Justice League light,
Mhm.
but I don't mind seeing stuff from the rest of the universe.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's got me hyped is like I'm curious on what's being added to the Absolute universe, the Absolute crossover, the Absolute DC, whatever Justice League is doing, whatever Superman's doing. There's no Marvel stuff that I can look forward to. Zero. I have 2 issues of Hellhunters left. That's it. And
I'm
Hulk's
hoping
its own corner.
I
Ultimates
do like Hulk a lot.
is too fractured for me. Like if we keep adding things in that might be more cohesive, but we saw when we looked at the sales charts, you were dead on arrival. You're DOA with that decision to put Ultimate X-Men to Peach Momoko. That could be its own book. Could be Demon Days. She already did it. She already did
Yeah.
this series a couple years ago and did a bunch of one shots, and that's collected, and you can read that, and that's a certain audience. But you can't know. There's not going to be any new readers to that per se. You're not bringing people in. If anything, they brought in and then they already quit it. I'd be surprised if it's in the top 50. I'd be surprised if it's in 70-ish, if I guessed. Um, so Ultimates is too fractured, and also you're too reverent to Hickman. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hickman, and we'll see if Imperial's coming out this year.
Yeah.
We'll
I
we'll
hope.
see what Hickman we get, because again, the Hickman Alien Avengers, great. The Hickman we're getting Wolverine, bad. The Hickman we're getting Ultimate Spider-Man, half and half. So half and half on that book. It's unreal. I can't believe it. We'll see. You'll see. So, all right,
Gotcha.
everyone.
All right.
That's it.
That's
Have
it.
a great week. Check everything out. Instagram. Put in any news we missed, anything you want us to talk about, expand upon. We will talk. Pretty easy. Pretty easy for
Be
us. So,
be healthy. Be safe.
hmm.
Pros get paid.
Let's get paid, everybody.